Hello, SDL fans. My name is Suun, and we've got a Divine Division game today. Stormcallers versus Eclipse, and joining me on the desk is Jeering. Jeering, how are we doing today?
I'm doing amazing. Glad to be back on the desk. Glad that I can get out of the heat outside. It's been quite a warm one for quite a few people, but looks like all the heat is going to be coming from the action we're going to be seeing here shortly. I can't wait to get into it. We had some pretty good stuff coming up. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm incredibly excited. I haven't gotten to see a whole lot of the Divine Division yet, so this will be a very interesting one between Stormcallers and Eclipse. And we've got some we got some picks and bans already starting right now, and I'm kind of expecting a lot of the standard things that we've been seeing. A lot of teams look to ban the Kali's, the Ravens, the potentially Jormungandrs. So I'm expecting a lot of those, and there's already a Kali ban coming out.
So, yeah, like you said, nothing really out of the ordinary so far. Pretty standard meta bans, just getting out those problematic characters that you just don't really want to see, especially because somebody like Kali can be a little bit difficult to peel when you literally cannot kill her for a solid 3 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's that Raven ban I was talking about as well, already getting taken off the table again. This is pretty standard stuff. We've been seeing this time and time again, but the Nesha ban's coming out pretty early on. Typically, we see this as a little bit of a ban during the second ban phase, or maybe after a first game that somebody played it really well. But tell me, do you think this is a good ban going into game number 1?
Well, we have to address the elephant in the room. When somebody's going to ban a support this early like that, it's either the support is just that broken and their stats are that bloated, or you're looking for some very specific picks, a very specific comp, because you want to do something very specific. For example, if you know you want to pick Tsukiyomi in the top 2 picks, you don't want to play into a Ganesh. They may not pick a Tsukiyomi in this case, but when you ban a support that early, you're definitely looking at something. So obviously this Ganesh ban should be an indicator of what's to come.
Yeah, and Nesha does a fairly good job into picks like Jormungandr, and a god that hasn't been banned out yet, and a lot of teams have been looking towards in these first pick spots. And so I wouldn't be surprised if we see that. But actually the Wukong coming out for Stormcallers, an incredibly strong solo lane pick, so not too surprising to see that get first locked in for Stormcallers, and a great look to start off their draft.
Definitely one of the better solo laners right now. You can tell Stormcallers are not monkeying around just yet. They're here to win it. They want to make some plays early on. This does still leave the Jormungandr open. As we've talked about, that's still a very prevalent solo laner right now. Very, very high pressure in the early game. Does fall off a little bit in the late game, but when you can get that much of an lead in the early game, it'd be very difficult to deal with. On the other hand, Eclipse now has 2 options to pick. They've got multiple people still open. We'll just have to see what do they prefer.
And a Freya lock-in incredibly early for their draft. Not something that we see typically this early within a pick, but if they're going to create a comp around this Freya, they could actually do a lot with this pick. Freya is an incredibly strong magical ADC that can, if she can get to late game, she can do numbers for her team.
Showtime!
And if you've got a Maui setting up for you in the early game and peeling for you in the early game, she's going to have a decent chance to make it through to that late game, especially as the games have been going on more towards those 30-35 minute marks for a lot of these teams as well. So a really strong pick. First two picks coming out for Eclipse.
Yeah, Maui's definitely a very aggressive support. If you can get those plucks, especially with that landfall, we have seen some truly
I am the
incredible things from the
shoguness
genetics
of
over the years.
sorrow.
But those Maui ults really were game-changing. So if you're going to keep your eye anywhere, I would keep an eye on the Maui. Definitely going to be seeing some waves, looking to catch the big one. But speaking of, we got a pretty interesting ADC pick here to counter the Freya. Izanami.
Yeah, Izanami has a
Feel
lot
my
lot
blessing!
of early pressure, and when you pair that with a Terra who doesn't have the greatest of level 2s in the game, you can really start to pressure out lanes, and a Freya Maui don't necessarily have the best clear either. So I expect this Izanami to be having a lot of pressure here in the lane, and if they feel confident and they feel like they can step up into this Freya, I think that this pick alone can have a decent chance of bullying out a Freya here in the early game and really start to get a little bit of a lead over this Freya that can help transition them better into late game. And so magical ADC versus physical ADC, it'll be an interesting one come late game. And a Guan Yu lock-in for Eclipse. Again, not a pick that we've seen a ton of recently.
Could certainly go into the late game very well, since Eclipse does already have a pretty solid late game build around them. Maui and Freya both doing very well in those later stages. Guan Yu, really good at just surviving in lane. You know, it's a Sun Wukong, may be very, very good in the solo lane, but the odds that you're just going to get first blooded in the first 2 seconds of stepping up to wave, not too likely. So Guan Yu is going to be able to survive, really setting up those teamfight stages very, very well. Eclipse going to have to be on point with those teamfights, though, because Stormcallers, they're bringing a lot of early pressure here.
Yeah, as the second bands phase come out, Mercury, Susano, Agni, Neja, a lot of assassin bands here in the second half, and an Agni splashed in there as well. Still need a mid laner for Eclipse as well, so maybe they're electing to pick their mid laner right now since they decided to ban out the Agni.
Listen
But actually, with the Hunbats lock in, I'm a fan of this Hunbats. That can set up really incredibly well for a Freya, for a landfall, and can follow up really, really well off of the Guan Yu cavalry charge.
Yeah, if you don't have beads or a lot of CC immune abilities available, any one of those three things can be detrimental, if not spelling outright disaster for even you and your teammates standing next to you. But speaking of beads, Fenrir, another god that's really going to make you want to have a second set of beads, because if you don't have any form of CC immunity, you're probably not going to be having a whole lot of fun into a team like that.
Yeah, definitely not. If this Fenrir can ever get to this Freya and grab a hold of her when she doesn't have beads, that might just spell disastrous for her. And a Merlin lock-in for the last pick of Stormcallers. Some decent shred coming out, especially with the Fenrir grab. You've got a root with the Terra to help set up for the Merlin as well and help peel him out. And the Merlin's just always a solid mid lane pick. It's never something you don't want on your team because he can bring a lot when it comes to base defenses and also for just shredding objectives to help facilitate a lead and going
Face
forward.
the bitter winds of Niflheim!
Oh yeah, offensively or defensively, Merlin is great for those Phoenix situations. Anytime you're trying to burn an objective, still very solid. The area denial from Merlin, very, very good. The thing I'm worried about is, Merlin's not exactly known for his CC immunity, and when you're against Maui, Guan Yu, and Hunbats, that's normally something you would like to look at, so we may end up seeing a little bit of action in the mid lane here. I have to be careful about that one. But Eclipse rounding out their draft with the final pick, Heimdall.
Gotta say, I was not expecting a Heim to come out here for this last pick, especially with that Freya locked in. Now there's a little bit of ambiguity as to where this Freya is going with this Heim lock in. Heim does very well over in the long lane just because of his passive, being able to see ganks coming relatively early and being able to position off of that. But maybe this is something that could lean towards mid lane as well, though, because Freya typically just wants to be left on an island as farm as much as possible. So it'll be kind of interesting to see where they elect to put these two Hunter picks, either in mid or in the long lane. But for the most part, their draft does seem like they have some really good follow up off of a lot of their setup from the Hunbats, from the landfall on the support pick, and also from this Guan Yu cavalry charge. And so it'll be really interesting to see what they elect to do with these picks, and we can go ahead and send it into game number 1 with Nooblet and Fenix.
Hello and welcome back to the Smite Draft League. We are on the cusp of finishing up a fiery week 2 of gameplay. I'll be your host for this evening, iNooblet, joined in the booth by Fenix. Fenix, how do you feel about Divine Stormcallers versus Eclipse?
I'm feeling really good about these two teams. We already have Cairo on this team, a up-and-coming solo laner in the Divine Division. The captain of Stormcallers drafted really well. And I think this team is really well rounded out as well. Not just only Cairo by himself. Really good player, though.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have my eyes on Chiron here on this set. He is the captain, like you said, was unable to be with his team in week 1. They had to play without him. Unfortunately, they carried the torch and got the W in week 1. Now he's here playing in the solo lane, even though we thought he might go jungle this season, and looking forward to seeing if he can continue that streak and win in week 2 with now him being a part of it.
And speaking of, the Rizzler is also here on the opposing team. We have seen him before play some unusual picks, and that's another situation here. Heimdall mid is something you do not see typically in higher level play, but this is not exactly that right now. A big fight already happened.
Yeah, big scuffle in mid. That's usually where we see the first blood come out. Voltcha taking on YeetOnDaNaeNae. Help from the Rizzler. Yeet's gonna get the first blood of this set, and Rizzler gets the second one. 1 minute and 30 seconds in. Fireworks have already started, and a good look for Eclipse early.
I'll take back everything I just said, dude. Rizzler looking great on the Heimdall already, and here's more aggression
Oh,
coming
look
from
at
Cairo.
Chiron.
Oh,
that blue
not
zone
gonna
just
work
not
out.
enough. But that was good pressure. That's what we want to see. He's got to make a statement here as there's a scuffle over the shield buff in the left lane. Chiron has a lot of pressure on his shoulders right now. He's been sort of known for playing his solo. Like I said, he thought about going into the jungle, but he came into Season 3, he said, I'll captain, I'll go in the solo lane. And seeing him on the Wukong here is very interesting. He's more so known for like the King Arthurs. We see a lot of that coming out of him. Playing a sort of meta god here. And so far, I mean, we're only 2 minutes in. Looking pretty good, looking pretty comfortable. I think he's been putting in the work.
I would look comfortable as a solo con against a Guan Yu right now. Guan Yu is currently not in the meta. Not feeling too strong. Was in the meta in the beginning of this patch, or the beginning of this entire season, to be honest with you. Kind of faded out after some nerfs were done to not only him, but also some items that surrounded around him, including that of like regrowth. That is not as good as it used to be in the first part of this season. It is not feeling too strong. When you're a healing god like Guan Yu, you want to be able to pick up an item like that and run a team down. And that's not what Guan Yu does right now. Sun Wukong, on the other hand, really strong in the meta pick, feeling really good in the team fight phase, as well as somewhat, as you can see right now, in the laning phase.
And the game has actually shifted in these last couple seconds. First blood did go the way of Eclipse, but we are seeing sort of gold go back and forth just due to the farming of these players right here. You saw Stormcallers go up there, try and invade the purple. Timing was a bit off. They were warded out. Had to go back to the lane. But speaking of the left lane, the Des talked a little bit about the Freya pick. How do you personally see it? Speaking of not meta right now, but kind of always sort of meta when in the right hands. Freya into Izanami. How does that feel?
It feels like Izanami should outclear. Oh, that was a steal.
What a steal. Chiron just doing it all. You can tell he's playing his heart out here in his first debut set of the season. You're just going to get him. And that one hurts. 1-on-2. You're going to lose your first blue buff, and you know Guan Yu loves those.
Yeah, I love seeing Cairo play aggressive like this. But back to our point, which
Wow.
is Izanami.
Both ults committed from Stormcallers already. Was on the tower line, so Redneck Yoda going to get back into tower very, very low, but I think he will survive. Okay, thinking about it. Just going to put the monolith out to scare a little bit, but hyper aggression. 2 ults, just a show of force kind of over there in the dual lane.
And funny enough, they answered your question without me even having to answer it, in all honesty. That's what that was. Izanami showing the pressure that can come with having a wonderful looking Terra on HARDKILLER on your team. It's what you can do as Izanami, is you can have this early pressure. As I was talking about Sun Wukong in the laning phase, Izanami is one of the best at it, and Sun Wukong showing that right now as well.
Going back in. Tiger form was good. All the other abilities were good. This time you're not going to get away. That's a kill. Then over to the mid lane. Rizzler picks up Voltcha, who went in, but the action isn't done. Duo wants some. OLK can actually take this one. It's just everywhere.
It is just everywhere. This is a 2-3 game, and as you said, you were talking about the gold and XP just a couple minutes ago. It's still neck and neck, nothing big of a difference. But YeetOnDaNaeNae is here for the rotation, just gonna go overhead smash, nothing much there. Throw a monkey out, trying to look for a kill, but I don't think there's gonna be anything there because of where ACookieNamedJoe is.
They'd probably have to dive pretty deep for this. And level 6 Humbats doesn't feel great when you don't have the ult, but nonetheless, going to stop the pressure just hanging out here. Is actually going to jump onto Izanami. A quick dash out. Going to go invis. Monkey toss just off the mark. Gold charts are up. Let's take a first look at how these teams are doing as Izanami's once again getting pressured. Doesn't have a dash, but a good double ult. Low mana. They're chasing. Going to put on a couple of the juke shoes. Just trying to get back under tower. Might make it. Homebats actually TPs into tower off the bastion. Takes a lot of damage. And here's Voltcha wanting the cleanup. Easy brutalized. Voltcha cleans that one up off just a slight mistake from Nene.
Slight mistake is walking into that tower, taking 2 tower shots at 5 minutes into the game. If this is a later part in the game, but Cairo making a big rotation onto the Rizzler.
Chiron's now in the mid lane, poking him out, gonna go up to the ult. Let's see if he tower dives. He does. Rizzler doesn't have a shot. A little help from Huntor there. Chiron looking good. 2-0, 6 minutes in with a big rotation that no one saw coming.
I was not expecting to see Cairo in mid lane at 6 minutes in this game, but talking about people that can dive towers, a Wukong at 6 minutes in the game with his ultimate is much more opportune than a Homebots at 6 minutes diving at towers. So really good play there from Cairo. We've already said his name 3 times this game. It's only been 6 minutes, guys, and that's how much of an effect Cairo can have on these types of games. But we can take our eyes off of him just a little bit and say there is some saving grace on the side of Eclipse as well. The Rizzler is doing really well right now as a 2-1, and the other person on the team doing very well right now is GettinCawky.
They just throw in fisticuffs over here in the duo lane. OLKxHARDKILLER has the worst of it for now, but of course those AoE autos and ooh, a good ability with the ult, but countered up into the sky as OLKxHARDKILLER goes. Trying to poke while getting back to the tower. GettinCawky gonna get a few more autos for safety. Just gonna push him back. Looking like Cookie's got a back there. So first 1v1 seems to go the way of Izanami. Scuffle in mid. Junglers are coming in to help this one out. Terra ult, landfall, and the Fear No Evil. All the ults have been dropped, but nobody seems on the precipice of dying. Almost sort of a panic brawl here. Everybody thought the go button got pressed, but it kind of got pressed all over the place.
It did get pressed all over the place, and Kyra still over here just smacking faces with the soul laner. In the mid lane, it seems like smacking is what is also going on there. And so that's what we expect from these types of games, is that you're going to expect a lot of early game smacking going on, but also we've seen a lot of kills coming out of these big ganks in either dual lane or the soul lane, or a lot of solo kills in specifically the soul lane, and that might happen again right here.
Low for life, very low on his life. Gyron going in, actually goes to Hawk form. Might have been a misclick, but does catch up. Help is on the way, but it's too little too late. Guan Yu gonna fall. YeetOnDaNaeNae is hot on the case. Looks like Chiron's gonna be safe there in dual lane of Stormcallers, pressuring out ACookieNamedJoe. Redneck Yoda here to support. Looks like probably will go their separate ways. No one quite in danger there.
No, I love seeing these two duo supports. They're really cool, but man, another ultimate.
You just can't stop it. They just have an opportunity and they take it. Quick on the trigger finger, especially GettinCawky. His ult's up, he's using it. Actually gets the kill there on the ACookieNamedJoe. Quick cleanup, and that's kind of what you want to see. Keep this Freya behind. A Freya from behind it's doable to deal with. You can deal with it. Freya ahead, pretty tough. But I think this might just come down to, what do you think? It's week 2 of season 3, as YeetOnDaNaeNae is going to get pulled into the Ragnarok. Beads committed, jumps out, looks safe. Just saying, it is week 2 of season 3. A lot of new players in this season, a lot of old players on new teams. Do you feel like it's just everyone's trying to show the other team what they have, and so they're being overly aggressive at the start? Or what is the vibe in this competitive setting?
I think what it is that not only are they trying to show the other team who the better player is, who who can be the better shot caller. They're also trying to show their teammates, trying to prove themselves to their teammates that they deserve the starter position, because there are subs in the SDL, and if you're not playing well, the captain can say, you're not playing too well, and I need someone to show up to these games. And so what you expect as a captain is for every one of your players to show up excited and ready to beat the other team into a pulp, basically. And if they're not showing that, then that's not a good sign for your team. And so, yes, there's always a part of competitiveness of learning the enemy team, but also learning your own teammates, especially when it's only week 2. We got 8 weeks of gameplay, well, 7 weeks of gameplay, and then a makeup week in week 8, which will have plenty of games this season.
And speaking of subs, important to note that although Cairo is in on this one, as he goes in on Low for Life, Ezeus was the one who subbed in week 1. Big shout out to them, getting the W for the Stormcallers and helping out. It's not an easy life being a sub and doing what you can when you're called up, and taking a back seat and letting the squad do what they can. Ticked over the 10-minute mark, meaning the objective has spawned. Gold Fury Fire Giant is on the map as we see Guan Yu use ult, backs Chiron up into tower. Gonna take the tower shot for it. Gotta be careful there. Chiron turn this around. He does have mana. Just enough, bit of a scuffle in mid. Looks like for the moment, no kills.
No kills, but there have been a lot of kills in that lane as of right now. This is like a win for Low Life whenever he can do that. And speaking of kills, these two ADCs are just smacking each other. And ACookieNamedJoe, unlucky, does not have the same clear that GettinCawky does on Izanami. That is one of the downfalls of early game Freya, even late game Freya. Just not great at clear, but really good at finding a certain one single god or even 2 gods and just boom, they're gone within a second.
Honestly, kind of downfall of laning up with anybody against Izanami. No one really clears like they do, and you can see the auto trade there. It was about even the damage they were putting out, just chunking each other. But the benefit going to GettinCawky, who always has those autos, and it's not just a stem that lasts for a short amount of time. So advantage does go to GettinCawky there, hitting autos. Gonna be interesting to see how that works out, as the second ring looks like it's coming online soon for Freya. Is 1 level down. Everybody choosing to play the farm game. I imagine Stygian Beacon gonna be the match that sparks the next fight. How do you feel about that?
Typically, it would be gold that you would see here at the 10-11 minute mark, but with Beacon being a new portion of the game, I'm not surprised to see the almost 3 members of Stormcallers here ready to defend it. It's really good, not only for the later game when you're trying to get down objectives, because it gives you more damage to those objectives, but also it just gives your team gold. So it's nice to have it, and it's like getting the totem in the right lane or the soul lane, which you just saw come alive right there. I love the idea of making a big rotation in mid and kind of forcing the rotation in mid as like either a 5 or 4-man group on to the beacon, but it sometimes doesn't work out that way. Sometimes you only have one person standing on it. I know you've experienced that probably before in your ranked games.
It's been interesting to watch these weeks too, as we see YeetOnDaNaeNae come over here. Does have ultimate. See if he uses it on Chiron, who has the return ultimate. Full CC immunity, could get out of there. It's been an interesting contention point. Some teams choose, hey, we don't really have the territory, we can't capture the flag right now. But some games have been Stygian Beacon's up, let's fight for extended over 90 seconds. OLKxHARDKILLER finds himself into the right lane, assisting on the damage on a low life. Voltcha gets pulled back in with the great Maui ult, separates the teams. Ragnarok comes out, pulls Maui away. Fear No Evil has got to get the beads out of Voltcha, and now we have a 2-on-3 going in favor of Eclipse currently. Again, a massive ult trade on both sides. Potential for a kill, just not quite the finisher. Huntor going to choose to take on a 1v1 with Rizzler, but OLK is around the corner. Couple bits of CC could prove fruitful here. He's going to go in with the dash, doesn't cripple him, but Rizzler tries to ult, doesn't get it. OLK roaches the kill from Huntor, who did 90% of the damage. Great gank from the support. Don't see that often.
No, HARDKILLER dropping down to Divine this season after being an Immortal in the previous season. Really good pickup for the Stormcallers. I was surprised to see him down here, and that's why, is because he makes these rotations. He was ganking like a jungler. He did better than a jungler, because we saw the ganks on the right-hand side of the map just be no fruit. Nothing happened. There were like Ragnarok, Fear No Evil, 3 other ultimates were used from both teams, and like nothing happened with it. But then we have a rotation from HARDKILLER in the mid lane against a very out of position Rizzler, and you're going to get that kill 10 out of 10 times, especially with the CC that Terra can bring to the table with those big stone walls. And I think that that's going to be a really big thing for the future of this game as well, especially when we start getting to objectives. Goldfigure, Pyromancer, and Fire Giant still standing at 14 minutes into this game. I hope to see Stormcallers push this lead and go to Goldfigure here soon.
And we have seen the first hints of people sort of posturing around the Gold Fury a little bit, hinting at it, seeing what the other team's doing. Voltcha going to look to gank a ACookieNamedJoe, leaps over the wall, won't be available for a stun. Getting sort of melted by Cookie here, but GettinCawky is ready to go in, takes immediately a third of the health bar. They're going to give up the chase there. OLK is in the left side of the jungle. Could posture around gold, or they could come back mid. Well, as you were speaking on the supports, what I've noticed a trend-wise as Huntor gets hooked by it, Bruno Evil, just the end of it, hits Huntor, gets Monkey Toss, not going to go to it this time, learned his lesson with the Bastion last time. Everybody going to go their separate ways. Like I was saying, we're talking about the supports, the trend I've seen in this sort of tank hybrid rewarding meta is that the aggressive supports are being rewarded. It doesn't really matter who you're playing, it doesn't really matter necessarily what you're building. People playing aggressive supports is just taking over these sets. Even when we saw in the Godlike division a few games ago, playing full damage Jormungandr support, but played it aggressive and it worked out.
It did work out, and I can tell you kind of why. I think the meta is kind of towards tanks right now. It's a tank meta. I think solo laners don't like to say it. I don't think supports like to say it, but I will say it as a solo laner that it is currently a tank meta. The reason for that is because there are two different situations going on. One of those is the beacon that the Rizzler is standing on right now, and not a good position to be in.
In the middle of three, gonna ult away one of them. Got to use beads and still get out. Okay, waited on the dash. Rizzler just gets dove under tower. The team can't do anything about it. That's one kill for Voltcha. Okay, looking to get out. Get stunned. Great CC and control by Redneck here. Not enough, as unfortunately he's going on the tanky Terra, who still had ult. Wow, that was really good reserve, I want to say. Point out specifically as YeetOnDaNaeNae comes in. OLK, you could see him thinking through it. He wasn't just spamming abilities. He was like, beads were used. Let me wait and try and trap him. Almost got it. I mean, they still got it with the dive. But great use and a great mental ability we're seeing coming out. Thinking about how you're playing, not just hitting your face on the keyboard.
Yeah, the smart plays. We've already talked about these two supports a couple of times now. Redneck Yoda, a really big pickup coming from Eclipse as well. I've already talked about OLKxHARDKILLER and how he also was a big pickup. Eclipse, it was kind of a sneaker pick. Yoda's a new addition to the SDL this season. Great person to be around, a great motivational speaker in some forms. Scouting grounds games, a joy to be around. And so I think that not only is Redneck Yoda just a good player, he's showing right now that he can get some really big landfalls and some really big abilities. Just his team needs to be around him to make it happen, because Rizzler is currently 3 levels down. That's not what you want to see. And here comes a big rotation already in. Another gank from HARDKILLER. He's playing jungle. He's a second jungler for Stormcallers right now.
He's just being frustrating, and we did see our first objective of the match go down to the way of the Pyromancer. As GettinCawky's probably going to dash through the wall here. Nope, just going to take the purple buff. So far, Stormcallers, 18 minutes into this game with a substantial 6K lead and about the same, a little bit more on experience. That seems pretty big 18 minutes in, as we're just nearing mid-game for these divine sets. But almost every tower is still on the map, especially on the way of Stormcallers, which it is. That's a lot of gold that way in one team fight. Gains a lot of experience as we see the second Stygian beacon come up. This one looking like it's going to be contested. Okay, going to start the business. Voltcha immediately just detonates YeetOnDaNaeNae. Rizzler not going to get away from Chiron once he falls out of the skies. GettinCawky actually going to clean it up first. Low for life, looking real low. Takes an Izanami ult to the face. Gonna drop to Huntor. 2 left standing on Eclipse. Backing up under their tower, but still burning. Oh, okay, is diving the T1. He wants this cleanup. Redneck just trying to buy some time. The ACookieNamedJoe goes to the sky. Huntor gonna get a double kill onto Redneck. And ACookieNamedJoe, the only one gonna survive this. 4 people dead on the side of Eclipse. 19 minutes in, Chiron isn't done. He goes and blinks, and in the bluestone is just not enough. Someone sneeze on that man. Barely escaping, almost a deicide. Great play, and it all started on the go button of the Stygian beacon.
Yeah, you had said it, right? Sometimes teams rotate a big time in, and Cairo might have bit off a little bit too much, but YeetOnDaNaeNae is not doing too much damage, and there's a Fear No Evil.
A great patient Fear No Evil, waiting for the Hawk form just to catch it so he doesn't have a dash. Rizzler standing by, looking ready, 3 on him, but he's just buying time for his team to go do other things. There's the Hawk form once again, but the slowdown off the leap. Low for Life going to use the ult just to confirm it. Chiron finally falls, now going to 3-1, and that's a huge XP gain for Low for Life.
Great rotation there from everyone to notice that Cairo was so out of position and to be able to get that kill. At least Eclipse got something. Even though they lost a mid tower, they lost a Gold Fury, they lost a second beacon. It's not a good situation to be Eclipse right now, but I'm going to say but, as the chair 2 here, I have the opportunity to tell you a little story about how this is not what you want to happen, is getting ganked right now, but how there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that is that your Humbot right now is neck and neck right now with Fenrir. So Voltcha and YeetOnDaNaeNae, even though it's felt like Voltcha's been a lot more present in these team fights, it may not be the truth, because Humbot's YeetOnDaNaeNae is still here and landing some really good Fear No Evils. Got that assisted that last kill onto Cairo. That might have helped him a lot. I want to point out one thing which I'm seeing right now, which is a Pridwin on Fenrir. Pridwin is a really good item right now, and just recently got the glyphs that you can upgrade them to. And one of the ones that he just picked up is really cool because it not only explodes, but it just assists your team in walking towards an enemy team with no problem, basically. So when someone goes up in the air, when Fenrir uses Ragnarok and walks towards the team, there's going to be a humongous explosion that occurs, which is regularly Pridwin. But here we go. HARDKILLER already rotating mid again, ganking.
Yeah, 2v2 starts up, and I don't even think Huntor used any abilities there before Rizzler got down to 1 HP. It looked like HARDKILLER was just doing all the work, but an easy pickup for him there. It's looking good. This duo lane, well, the mid lane duo matchup is looking very strong. Really just anywhere OLK is right now, but YeetOnDaNaeNae making a very smart play around the back. GettinCawky already taking poke, gonna dash out into the jungle, going up top. Fear No Evil perfectly on the mark. Gonna show invisible, but no! The monkey bounce! It went to the shield buff. GettinCawky's gonna walk out, runs into Redneck Yoda, gonna beads. No one else currently here. Dashes back up. Let's see. Oh, Landfall pulls in. Huntor set of them. Looks like they just did a swapperoo as HARDKILLER's gonna pick up his 4th kill onto Guan Yu, and they're sieging the tier 2 up there. Huntor did, in fact, trade his life for GettinCawky. That's a good teammate right there. But here's Stormcallers running down the right side Fenix. 22 minutes in. No one back to stop them. An easy Fenix gonna get it for free and back out. What a play and a worth sacrifice for Huntor. Rizzler gonna stop him in the jungle and try and get some. Ult just off the mark. Gonna turn his attention to Chiron, who's trying to get away from YeetOnDaNaeNae. I think he'll be pretty safe. Do you think that was a play by design, as we'll keep our eye on how Chiron lives here? Oxform just gonna get him out of dodge. No one that can really catch up to that.
Yeah.
Do you think that was by design? They said, hey, we'll just keep running it down, or they were just taking advantage of the situation?
I would say they were taking advantage of the situation, but I can expect that Chiron probably was in the call saying, let's go, let's go, let's go, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. And there probably was a lot of calls going on the Stormcallers SDL voice call. That would make the most sense, is that probably they would see them in mid lane and say, there's 4 in mid, there's 4 in mid, let's go ahead and get this Phoenix. I have a bomb, I have a runic bomb. And runic bombs are really good for pushing those Phoenixes, especially when you've already, they got 2 beacons, which means they do more damage to objectives, as I was saying, and objectives include Phoenixes and towers. And so Stormcallers are in a great position just to do that to towers and Phoenixes, and they should continue to do that with Oni Fury coming up here in a couple of seconds, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're placing themselves around this to take a humongous fight that might actually end up deciding a Fire Giant fight in the future as well.
And whether it was a good taking advantage of a good opportunity or completely by design in a 1000 IQ play, they do have that right side Phoenix, which is huge. Can create a lot of pressure. Now Oni Fury, excuse me, uncontested, gonna cause Oni waves to join those fire waves. And now the only thing left on the map is a Fire Giant. Do you think they posture around it, or they push and force a fight in one of these other lanes? Because as we know, right side, if you get that Phoenix, although it's wonderful to get it 22 minutes in, now it's easy to contest both Fire Giant and stop that fire wave at the same time. Where would you like to see their next move?
I would like to see them posture around Fire Giant, but not pull Fire Giant and look for a kill. They have been playing aggressive this entire game, and why stop now? I think Voltcha is the example of being aggressive, and Huntor, look at where his position is right now. He's looking for kills. They're looking for kills, but they're also pulling Fire Giant here, already down a quarter of its health.
And Freya not going to be available to this fight as she's all the way in left lane. There are members of Eclipse in the jungle, but it looks like it might be the same story from Oni Fury. They're just going to let it go. Is your thoughts that, hey, it's not an EFG as we see Chiron causing trouble in the mid lane, taking on 1-on-2, going to send them into the left jungle, maybe searching for some help. And now we see Stormcallers pushing up mid lane. Do you think that was a call by Eclipse to say, hey, it's not EFG, let's take our chances, we're already down by so low? I could understand that you lose Fire Giant fight there, you still have to take a fight afterwards. But now they got to take a Fenix fight, or potentially lose more objectives as they come up. It looks like the third Stygian Beacon is going to go their way.
I would just go ahead and send one person, and that one person for me would have been low life. I think we should have for sure sent in at least one person to see if, say, hey, like, I'm not going to give this to you guys for free, because this is a really bad situation to be in if you're on Eclipse. Titans are spawning on the left side of the map, which is exactly where Stormcallers would have placed it if they had the option to. If this was a game of chess, this is the move they would have made. Just put it in the left lane, let's push down the opposite side of Fire Giant, and let's get some easy Phoenixes or easy towers in this example right now. I love Stormcallers shot calling right now. I don't know if it's Chiron doing it, I don't know if it's Hardkiller doing it. Whoever it is making some great calls, and they've also had some really good luck.
And they're going straight into the Phoenix here, not wasting any time. Lampfall comes out, pulls in 2. 3 are still in there. OK is so low, gets the ult off before he falls. He's not gonna fall, he's gonna get out. Terra OP on the heels, low for life, gonna go back to Maui. Everyone looking real low. This could be an easy wipe as Rizzler dives the back line by himself. Gonna send one off into space and actually collect the kill. Didn't like the Hardkiller got out, but falls for it. Now we have a 4-on-4. Health bars definitely advantage Stormcallers. Everyone reset on Eclipse. Looks like with the Titans coming out, they're gonna choose to back off a little bit, because even if you get Fenix there, the damage coming out of the Titan, you can't end. Guan Yu gonna go over and try and stop the Fire Means from taking down the right side once more. Stormcallers Titan has not joined this fight, so they are a bit outnumbered. Do you think they just go in here and push it when they don't have Guan Yu?
I think they should. This is a 4v3. Take this chance if you're on the side of Stormcallers, I would say. And now, especially with the Titan pushing down, there's no way that they don't want this. Eclipse doesn't want it for sure. They should take that win, which is defending that Phoenix right now, but they're going to have to do it again. But at least they'll have a 5v5 situation or a 5v4 situation, depending on how long it takes Terra to get up here. Sun Wukong had to back right there, which means you have a 3v5 situation going the way of Eclipse. This is a good chance for Eclipse to make a big move if they want to. Maybe a big Fear No Evil.
Chiron TP back in, full health, no fear, wants to go in, immediately starts walking just to create space for the team to come in, but the Titan is there too, causing havoc. Half health on the Phoenix. OLKxHARDKILLER, a quarter health, and it's literally just Chiron in this Phoenix making it happen. Bede's gonna prevent GettinCawky from coming in, but the Fear No Evil in the back line, and the cavalry charge coming out too. Rizzler took down one, YeetOnDaNaeNae finally fell. Chiron low for life, gonna be back in the fountain, and it is 3-on-4 in favor of Eclipse. They're gonna push them out. A solid defense. They didn't lose Phoenix, and they're gonna still push. Successful defense. Hold on. Hardkiller has blood on the mind. Goes back in, and Voltcha is with him. They squad up, and Rizzler TPs forward into danger. A good whoop onto Huntor, who doesn't have an ability to get out. He falls. Voltcha alone doesn't end up getting the kill. That's a double kill for OLKxHARDKILLER. And Rizzler picks up the last one, which was surely a good Stormcaller siege, has ended in a deicide for Eclipse.
Wow. Eclipse, what a play. That is what you needed, right? If I was on Eclipse right now, I'm looking for my next target. Pyromancer, Gold Fury, let's go. Let's keep moving forward. But for right now, you can bask in the fact that you guys just decided a team that for sure had the highest chance of winning that. There was not only a Titan pushing down your Phoenix, but also your right side of Phoenix was falling, and also you had 2 players drop, and also there was so much against you guys if you're on Eclipse, but somehow they played it so well, and now they've gotten Pyromancer, the gold, even though 10k different, does not really show here.
And look at this, 2 on 4. They're going in, and Cairo gets one. GettinCawky falls immediately to Rizzler, and now Chiron versus 4. They don't even care that they just got deicied. They're gonna fall again. Rizzler with a double kill. Is this the thing we see, Fenix, where teams are up by a lot and they're, no pun intended, getting cocky, and they get overly aggressive and squander their lead? Because we're rolling over to the 30-minute mark. Almost everyone is level 20. We're about to get there. Pretty soon everyone will be full build, and then it won't matter what your lead is. Do you think this is just them having fun? Are they just damage testing? Or is this a red flag that we're seeing out of Stormcallers?
I would say this is a red flag. You're pinging now at this point. If you have little little ears or whatever they're called, if you're an ant, you're gonna say, "Oh, there's a problem here. We need to go ahead and make sure that we don't keep losing these really aggressive fights that we're forcing." And Pyromancer was not really worth the fight for them. And I don't know why they went in 2v4 or 2v5. It didn't make much sense. I think the next target we want to fight at is Fire Giant. But that's the thing. You're saying, oh, well, items are coming online for everyone. You know, we're almost level 20. But what's different now is that it's 30 minutes into this game, which means that Fire Giant is not only like much more important, but it's like game ending type of different. You can walk into a Fenix and kill it within 3 shots as an ADC, especially as Izanami, who has double ADCs, double basic attacks the way there and the way back, which means just double the meltage.
It's an interesting dynamic when you think about it. Obviously, we have a scoped out view, and it's easy to backseat game here. But they won immediately, took almost no issues with the 4v2, wiped them off, and then chose to go to Gold Fury as we see the fight start off. We'll hold the thought. Low for Life gonna hop straight into the ult, bring in Voltcha with them, straight into the team. Gets in the Ragnarok, doesn't help. Down. ACookieNamedJoe gets that one, and now Stormcallers on the back foot once again, but they're still taking control of the Fire Giant pit here. They still have Eclipse on the outskirts. This is interesting. Is this just a mind game? Chiron going in on YeetOnDaNaeNae. There's almost no punishment for him walking into 5 members. Gonna go up into the get out of jail free card, reset his health here. And again, Eclipse is choosing to back out of the Fire Giant and give up control. What I was saying was it was an interesting dynamic, Fenix, that they won the fight, they had the clear advantage, and they chose to go to Gold Fury and then reset and give up the control of the Fire Giant and allow Stormcallers to come back with a full team and run in hyper aggressive and die again. At what point are they going to get punished as a 4-man gank is coming on Chiron, and then a 3 to 4-man gank, a 3-man is going on Rizzler? He will get into his transportation to the left lane, but now he's way far away from this fight. Chiron taking on 4, half health, doesn't have ult, so far from home. ACookieNamedJoe gets another one.
I don't know what Stormcallers are doing at this point. We need to go ahead and regroup. Let's reset. This is like after game 1 loss. This is not a loss here in this situation as of yet. But usually after a loss in any type of game, not even Smite, more games than that, you want to reset. You want to have a mental reset and just say, let's get back to this and let's go ahead and take on a bigger fight and a better fight in our favor. That's what they need to do right now. Stormcallers need to sit down, take a little quick reset, and just come back into this Fire Giant, this next team fight, and reorganize like they were for the first 20 minutes of this game. Because they had a 20k lead at one point, I think.
Fire Giant pit is now under control of Eclipse. Rizzler in the mid lane. It's going to take a while for him to get back to this fight. It is a good reminder to for the viewers that this is week 2, and these are still fresh teams. So it's not like they've been playing together for 6 months and they're just losing their mind here in week 2. We're seeing a lot of great things. They're figuring out their comms. They're figuring out their team chemistry. They're figuring out how they can play and what works for them. And especially in a game 1, maybe you can take that 2v4. Maybe you can't take that 1v4. We won't know till we try, right? And then we learned the lesson. All right, 1v4s are out. Well, let's go back to the drawing board here. Scuffle happening, 34 minutes. Whoever gets this Fire Giant might end up getting the best advantage in the game as a big landfall presses go and people oblige. GettinCawky finding himself in a Fear No Evil, commits beads and Aegis, not enough, falls down. YeetOnDaNaeNae is low. And there goes someone. Couldn't see. They went too fast. It might have been a Voltcha. It was a Chiron. Comes back. Falls down to Rizzler, who is now 8-6 and 7. Didn't start this game other than the first blood with a great scoreline, but has certainly brought it back. Impressive work from them. Eclipse going to choose to reset once more. 45 seconds going to be around the average of when Stormcallers will be fully up.
Eclipse, let's get to Fire Giant. Let's get this Fire Giant, baby. This is a great game because Eclipse were not in this position whatsoever. I was ready to call it like curtains. I was ready to close them. I was ready to say finale, you know? Whatever words you want to use for the end of the game when the Titan falls. I was saying Stormcallers had this game. I think the score was 16-3 or something of the sort. It is now 17-17. Gold does not matter at this point at all, and Fire Giant is half health, going the way of Eclipse.
Yep. Fire Giant half HP. OLK and Voltcha here. We see YeetOnDaNaeNae going out to zone. Voltcha going to go straight in and ult. This time not going to be phased by the Rizzler, but eventually going to fall to a cookie named Joe. Landfall was committed there, and a quarter HP still on the Fire Giant. They still have it. Merlin's going to send in some abilities. Not going to be enough. Eclipse is going to get the first EFG. If you told me that EFG, the first EFG was going to go to Eclipse 15 minutes ago, say no shot, the game would have already been over by now. And now they're going to do exactly what they need to and start sieging down these towers. We do see Stormcallers going over and trying to get the Oni Fury before it happens, just to relieve some pressure, but this could be a huge siege.
I love what Eclipse are doing. They should continue to push this side of the map. Don't worry about the other two towers. You have a 5v1 advantage, about to be a 5v4 advantage, and Cairo can't do this by himself, but he's going to try to.
Chiron tries to defend and immediately gets sent away. In seconds, the Phoenix is down. Chiron is back, gets up into the ult. Guan Yu is zoning, takes in his Anami ult, is going to be a victim of OLK's CC. Low health bars on both sides. This could go either way. Redneck not scared to hold the front line down, pulling people in. OLK going a little too deep. Freya autos do hurt, and everybody gonna go their separate ways. The only person falling here is the Phoenix.
Yeah, same Phoenix that fell for Stormcallers the previous time. So this is right lane has been getting bullied. Both Phoenixes have fallen for both teams. I love this chase coming out from Stormcallers though.
Oh, they did not give up on it, and it's going to be rewarded. Huntor with the stance switch going to pick up Redneck Yoda. A healthy Chiron is here. Brutalize initially went on to low life. They're going to switch stance, and that's a double kill for Huntor. A cookie named Joe falling, and that's huge. Rizzler in trouble. He just sidesteps with his TP, and Chiron going to pick that one up. Oh, how the turntables. Now it is Stormcallers running it up mid. Two people left to defend. They do both have EFG. They do both have ults. Chiron going to take it upon himself to go stop YeetOnDaNaeNae from backing. Just going to mess with him as long as he can. Low for life, falling to GettinCawky. What was a great siege and looked like a turnaround for Eclipse is now a turnaround for Stormcallers. Fear no evil, no good. Chiron cleans up the last one. That's a DSI. Did you see that one coming? Titan under siege. Stormcallers with Chiron back are gonna take game one of this set.
Stormcallers will ultimately win game number one, looking incredibly strong there in the early game. A bit of a rocky mid game, but managed to clean it out in the end. Jeering, what did you think of that game?
The storm has been called and the curtains have been drawn for game number one. Stormcallers commanding start. The first blood didn't quite go their way after a double kill in mid lane, but after that, they started taking presence around the map, really pressed their advantages everywhere that they could, and took a nice lead for themselves going into that mid game. But by the time it hit late, Eclipse was making some waves and really fighting back into it. But ultimately, one or two small little misplays, and Stormcallers were able to capitalize on every single one of them. Brought it back. Very nice back and forth game, but looks like this time Stormcallers brought just a little bit more to the table.
Yeah, maybe hanging out a little bit too long there after taking that bird. They didn't do a great job of all disengaging at the same time, and because of that, unfortunately, one gets picked off, and then they tried making a play out of it. But you're already down one player at that point, and there's no point trying to salvage a team fight after the fact. You just got to get out, and unfortunately, not able to get out was Eclipse, and so Stormcallers do end up picking that game. And one person that I really had my eye on a lot that game was Hardkiller. Looked amazing on the Terra, setting up beautifully. And there's so many team fights in the early game that it felt like that the rest of the Stormcallers didn't want to fight, but then Hardkiller would just walk into a tower, walk into the middle of four people, and then just get a massive root or a huge stun off, and the team fight would pick right back up, and they would clean up an immense amount of kills and then continue to extend their lead. As somebody who looked incredibly strong here in this first game.
Oh, absolutely. Especially with that Earthen Fury, Terra goes absolutely incredibly well with the team that they had picked up, able to get multiple instances of damage to proc it immediately. They were really accentuated by just the pressure in CC that Terra provides, since utilizing the range that they have, Sun Wukong with the cudgel able to hit you from a range, Fenrir being able to jump in really easily, getting that dive off, Merlin being an artillery mage, being able to just take away an entire tower's worth of space that you can't walk into, otherwise you take all that damage, and just Izanami throwing autos left and right. No matter where you're standing, if you're within auto range, you're probably getting hit. And Terra had more than enough CC to make sure that happened. Really standout player.
Not to mention a ton of peel as well on the tail end of that. So,
Yeah.
but and on the opposite side, there was a lot of dive coming out from Cairo as well, looking absolutely phenomenal there on the Wukong in game number one, and had a scary, scary lane in the solo lane over there, and really got a lead and just got to snowball off of it to a lot of these early team fights, especially around that first beacon spawn that the teams were fighting around. And so another character, another person on a team that you're gonna have to be really scared of because of just how aggressive they can be and just how much they can do with that aggression for the team. So definitely somebody else to keep an eye out for, and I wouldn't be surprised if we potentially see either a Wukong first pick for Eclipse or maybe even a Wukong ban coming out for Eclipse.
I would not be surprised to see either, since it certainly makes sense why you would want to ban the Wukong immediately. Don't even want to risk giving it to him. But at the same time, maybe they could make it work for themselves too. It is still a very solid pick right now, very strong solo laner. So I have to see how well Eclipse is going to be able to really make that decision, see which route are they going to take as we go into picks and bans for game number 2.
Thor immediately taken off the table, and I always love taking Thor off the table. The flex potential of him being first locked in for either team is always something scary and something you have to consider between if it's going to the solo lane or if it's going to go into the jungle. And either way, you've got to be worrying about those global ultimates. So always great to see that taken off the table. Baba Yaga, Raven, both were banned in game number one. Not surprising to see them banned in game number two. Same with the Kali as well.
Very prevalent picks, especially with Baba, in my opinion, being probably one of, if not the best mid laner in the game right now, being able to stack up that prophetic cloak along with the Karen's coin, and you're sitting very, very pretty, especially with the safety provided from Home Sweet Home. You have a lot of space to work with and plenty of safety with it too, so it makes a lot of sense why you don't really want to be playing against that since the Sun Wukong is left open, so Eclipse may just end up picking that.
Potentially so. It could be scary if it goes in the way of Stormcallers again for the game number two. They ended up first picking it. Stormcallers did in game number one, so it is the safe and smart option to probably first pick it away from them here in game number two for Eclipse. Wukong getting locked in, not surprising. Again, we were already talking about how we were kind of expecting this to come through, and sure enough, there it is.
Yeah, just like we mentioned, are they going to either ban it or first pick it? They ended up first picking it. Let's see what they can end up doing. Cairo did a lot of work in the last game with that Sun Wukong. Let's see just how well Low for Life can do with it, because we certainly saw quite the impact. But it looks like this time around, Stormcaller's going to be looking at the Freya.
Both these teams electing to lock in this Freya. Maybe they decided that they wanted to take it away because a lot of those like late game team fights, once this Freya hit level 20, it seemed like a lot of these team fights was
Feel
going the
my
way of
blessing.
Eclipse, and this Freya was doing a lot of damage with it. So it's not too surprising to potentially just take that away because that seemed like a pretty good comfort pick for Cookie here in game number one. But in game number two, it's going the way of getting cocky, and that's not too surprising. He looked incredibly aggressive on the Izanami in game number one, and some people like to play a really aggressive Freyas, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see that as well. But the Terra lock-in as well, once again,
I
hard
will leave
carry might
standing no barrier to our success.
be looking to hard carry.
It's certainly possible, but so far it really feels like Stormcallers are taking pretty much the same team Eclipse had in the previous one. So looks like they're both acknowledging both sides have a pretty valid argument for what's good, and they definitely made it work quite well. So makes sense why they would want to run that for themselves. But Eclipse opting for something a little bit different. The Ganesh and the Mercury getting picked up in the top three, with Crit coming back a little bit. Mercury, once again, anytime Crit is good, Mercury is going to be just as good, if not better. Ganesh, always very well rounded support, a lot of damage, some really solid CC, great for setting up for the team. So we could see
Your
quite an
terror
impactful
comes to
team
an
fight
end.
stage coming out once again.
Cairo looking incredibly aggressive on the Wukong in game number one, and now with the Shiva Tandava on top of that, being able to heal yourself and heal your teammates with the ultimate, or do a lot of damage with Shiva Tandava, can be a really scary thing when diving the backline, and that's like a solid 4 or 5 seconds that you can't be CCing him at all to lock him down like you could the Wukong. So that's something that could be potentially scary if you're Eclipse, that you might have to be dealing with. And we saw the Nesha get banned away from Eclipse in game number one, so it feels right to see them pick it within the first three picks in game number two and go ahead and get that for themselves. And as we're entering in ban phase number two of game number two, we see a Thoth, a Discordia, a Merlin, and potentially another mage, because both of these teams need to be locking in their mid laners right now. But Eclipse had a Hunter in the mid for game number one, so it'll be interesting to see if they elect to have a Hunter in mid again for game number two.
Well, Montegris has already been banned, so we probably won't be seeing that. We do end up seeing a Naja ban, on the other hand, so definitely a little bit of the jungle availability being reduced once again. Seen a few jungler bans already this game, but Eclipse does not want to be dealing with that, especially since those Windfire wheels can really make it difficult to try and do
Listen to my
anything. Because
words.
that's just a few seconds where if you don't already just CC immune that ability before it's cast, your window of beadsing after it started very, very minimal, and your chances of survival after it's cast less so. So it's definitely a good idea to get rid of that.
Yeehaw!
On the other side, we will see the Hun bots being picked up by the Stormcallers. Some really good CC that we saw in the previous game. Fear No Evil just being such an impactful teamfight ability really makes it difficult to try and get in there and engage. But on the other hand, Eclipse gonna opt for the Poseidon, knowing full well that there's a Hunt bots on the other team without that CC
Can you
immunity.
keep up?
We saw the Stormcallers go for the Merlin in this situation last game, so it's definitely going to be a very more aggressive and unafraid type of pick, especially as they lock in the Danzaburo.
Yeah, Danza's a pick that not a whole lot of teams have been looking at as of recent, but it seems like it's starting to become one of these SDL picks that there are some ADCs that are really looking towards this pick, and nobody else is looking at it, it seems. And from what I have seen, it has been a very effective pick over there in the long lane. And we've seen a lot of these ADCs actually get a lead because it seems like people forget just how much damage Danza does in the early game. And so a lot of these teams just forget and will lose all of their HP instantly, and all of a sudden there's a Danza that is getting a huge lead, and with his passive giving him more gold, it's definitely something that's kind of scary when he is already getting natural gold from being ahead.
Oh, without a doubt. But looking at the final pick for Stormcallers, we see Chang'e. Not a mage I see too often, but especially with that Terra and Shiva, we're looking at a very aggressive dive type team comp from the Stormcallers. Do you think the Eclipse is going to be able to survive that dive? Or are they going to be just aggressive enough, especially in that early game, to try and counteract that?
It'll be interesting to see, to say the least, because it seems like it could go kind of either way between them. You have a Poseidon that can do a lot of damage, but Poseidon's also very easy to just blow up, especially when you have a Hunbats on that side as well. So on the flip side, I should say. So it will be a little bit difficult there in the mid lane, and to see how well Eclipse can perform this game. But we don't have to really sit here and think about it too much, because we can just send it over to Nooblet and Fenix for game number 2.
Thank you so much, Jeering and Suun, and welcome back, SDL fans. We are now in game 2 of week 2. Stormcallers versus Eclipse in the Divine Division. I'm still iNooblet, joined by Fenix. What a game 1, Fenix. What can we expect to see from these comps game 2?
Hopefully a cleaner game from Stormcallers. That was not as clean as I wish it would have been. I feel like that game could have ended at 23 minutes instead of going to, I believe, 35, almost 40-minute game. If I'm Stormcallers here, we're going to have to go ahead and fix some things up. And I think we already started doing that by getting the Terra again.
Oh
Great
no,
pick.
Rizzler. It's always the mid lane. They got a double kill. At least Eclipse did in game 1. And now First Blood going the opposite direction to Stormcallers by the way of the Huntor Chonga. And speaking of Huntor Chonga, I can't remember the last time I saw a Chonga. Do you love that here? Do you hate it here? Are you indifferent?
I was going to make a joke with you because I know you and I are both millennials, basically, which means that we said Miss Frizzle, Magic School Bus yesterday. There was a joke about that. And now I wanted to make a joke about Foster's Home of Imaginary Friends, which is an old Cartoon Network show with Blue and Mac. And this is Foster's Home of Imaginary Friends. We have a Donza Burrow and a Chonga in a game. And these are people that we have not seen since... we haven't seen them in 2023. They have not been very good. We've seen Chonga and Solo for a little bit, but I don't feel like it's as good as it used to be, especially at the beginning of the season. But that is 1-0. It's 1-0, so they're doing well. There you go. Hunter 1-0 on the Chonga, which means she could prove me wrong with the Chonga all day.
Huntor was very low in mid lane, and there are some low health bars over here in duos. Voltcha has joined the fight, leaping straight in to slow down OLKxHARDKILLER. Use beads just to prevent the slow. I think, yes, he did get shell as well. Made it under tower. Negates the gank, but had to use a lot for it. YeetOnDaNaeNae is here. Not really much you can do with the level 3 Mercury currently, but at least his presence is there. Taking a look at the solo lane, Chiron now gets his god stolen away. Low for Life can pilot the Sun Wukong, and Chiron going to be on the Shiva. Another god we do not typically see him on, but he looks so good and fresh on that Wukong. It'd be exciting to see what happens here. Currently not getting the better of the lane. Rizzler running for his life. No, not the Bastion. The Bastion TP. It happened, but this time to the opposite team, which is a funny thing when you look at it. The only real gods that are consistently in this game too are the Freya and the Humbats, which were on Eclipse last game. Yeah. Now on Stormcallers, and Voltcha just did what YeetOnDaNaeNae did early in game 1, and that's TP to the Bastion. Low for Life almost falls there, but doesn't.
Big situation of what I can do, whatever you can do, I can do better. Basically, I was trying to say it, trying to get it out.
It was
like
a respect tribute.
Right there. Yeah, it was like, yeah, they can take these picks and let's see if maybe they can do better on them. That's how it feels. Voltcha taking the Humbats while he did not play that last game. The Mercury is the new addition to the jungle here, and I love the Mercury pick. Even though crit chance is not as prominent in the game right now, it feels really strong still, and especially because it forces the enemy team to build a Spectral. And if they don't, then you're getting punished for that. And that's exactly what YeetOnDaNaeNae is hoping for, is for them either not to pick up the Spectral, or if they do, then there's a spot gone that could have been, maybe a Magi's Blessing, or Mantle of Discord, or maybe even a Spirit Robe. Something that is more prominent in the current meta than Spectral.
I'll tell you what I love about Eclipse right now, what I'm so excited to see is that so many teams lose game 1, and I wouldn't say Eclipse got stomped by any means. It was a good game. It definitely could have went either way. But so many times we come into a game 2 and we come into the picks and bans and we don't see much changed. As Yoda wants to change something here over in the dual lane. He commits Darmic Pillars. No one really trapped in it. A trade for GettinCawky's ult. Yoda getting real low. Voltcha has come around the corner with a Fear No Evil. Yoda's gonna fall immediately. He started the fight and paid the price. Danzaburrow has turned into a leaf, but is gonna walk straight into Voltcha. Not scared though, gonna stand his ground on this one because YeetOnDaNaeNae has showed up. Beads has to be committed from Voltcha and a Sonic Boom just to try and get in there. But here's a Huntor. Is a Chongo with an ult. Misses the ult, that's okay. Chiron getting real low on the Shiva. Low for life, thinking about it. Thinking twice about it, not going to go for it. Eclipse mid laner has joined this fight. It's a bit of an extended fight. Almost no mana. Here's a Kraken. Stopped him in his spot. What a great amount of teamwork. Rizzler pops out the Kraken as they're chasing down Huntor. He's going to get CC'd. Looks like he has a little bit of chance to get out. Okay, he's going to trade his life. No, he's going to actually just stop 3 of them from chasing the mid laner and get out. But let's not glaze over what just happened there. Kraken came out, and very easily Voltcha could have lived or stepped out of that, and YeetOnDaNaeNae wrapped him and kept him there for the entire Kraken, deleting him. Great teamwork, intentional or not. That is what you want to see out of your mid laner and jungler.
Yeah, and beads were down on Voltcha at the time, so there was no chance for him to get out there. Yeah, great special delivery from YeetOnDaNaeNae. That you want to see that. You want to see that, especially after the fight how that had started, right? It was not a good start of the fight for the Stormcallers, for Eclipse. But then they came back, and Redneck Yoda died and was there again. And speaking of dying, Lowlife is the one that's being threatened now. These solo laners are trading out like nothing else right now. This is awesome to see.
Yeah, this is a great even brawl over here in solo lane. If Low for Life didn't have that Hawk form, he might not have lived there. He might have just taken one more pulse of the ultimate. It looks like he's going to try and challenge his blue buff. Chiron has been a menace with stealing these blue buffs, both in game 1 and now currently. Bluestone not going to confirm it. Chiron going to get that one. Just keeping this good solo laner down. Nothing tilts you more than getting your blue buff stolen. And real quick, while we have some downtime as we tick over into 6.5 minutes, about 500 difference in gold. What I was saying is I love that Eclipse, because so often we see things don't get changed. They're like, this god didn't work, but I'm sure it'll work. I'm going to try it again. Lowlife trying to get up to the ult, and he does. If you look at Eclipse, they have a brand new draft. Entirely different. All new gods. They swapped it up, man. They said, okay, I like how we played game 1, but that comp wasn't it. Let's try something new. And I love to see that.
Yeah, that's a sign of leadership probably on the team, just saying, hey, we can go ahead and move on from this and go ahead and be anew. The Rizzler caught again.
Huge gank and great self-peel from the Kraken, but still taking ultimates. Redneck Yoda uses the Darmic Pillars to keep him at bay. Almost caught Poseidon in a bad spot with his own pillar. But great peel there. Had to use beads. Kraken knocked up 2 of them. Got out free. Love that. And the fight continues over here. The right Harpies. YeetOnDaNaeNae very, very low. Horrific comes out. YeetOnDaNaeNae is going to fall to Voltcha. Jungler getting the other. Redneck Yoda's just trying to get past these 3 bodies. Eventually does and gets under tower. Voltcha almost teleporting to under tower. Rizzler's made his way back and Vulture's 1 HP. Don't fall to the Phantom. Gets out just barely.
We saw that last game with the Freya. ACookieNamedJoe was extremely low in the mid lane, and all you had to do was sneeze on the Freya and she would have died. And the exact same situation there for Voltcha. Just this time, it's the opposing team. They're kind of doing a little mismatch, a little bit of you did this to me last game, I'm going to do it to you this game type of thing. And Stormcallers pulling ahead here 3-1. I hope to see Stormcallers actually push this lead in the proper way. And I want to see exactly what they do at around the 15-minute mark. That's going to be the really big thing for Stormcallers. If they're going to put themselves in the same position as last game, or if they're going to possibly fail at a team fight like they did last game.
Sonic Boom, and we do a really good beads reaction from GettinCawky. Danzaburrow Rocket's going to come in. Nope, hard right turn, going to take a detour. Doesn't want to dive under there. Smart move, as GettinCawky does have ult. Probably would have trapped Danza in there as he was riding the rocket. Those were great reactions. You don't see that too often out of any top tier players, let alone players. Oh, excuse me, here as Darmic Pillars comes out and the Chonga ult. 2v3 fight, but Eclipse wants it. Gonna fall down. YeetOnDaNaeNae going to the Fear No Evil, and Huntor taking big damage on that Riptide. Redneck Yoda as Humbat's on him, sticking on him. Gonna walk out free, very low. But again, people are getting out just barely. This could easily be a 10-10 at least game kill-wise. Danzaburo getting dropped on. Voltcha somehow just instantly appeared over in the dual lane. OLK's here with them. Beads used. Up into the skies goes GettinCawky. Bit of a tower dive. Pretty easy. Gonna take him out and get a lot of his kit with them. On the other side, Chiron bullying out low for life. I just love the aggression. It's just not stopping. The best thing about this set on either side is when these teams are fighting, whether it's 2-on-4, whether they're losing the fight and an even one, they show, no pun intended, no fear. They're not scared to try and turn the fight at any moment. They're not just turning tail and running for the tower. They're standing toe-to-toe with them and saying, we can probably win this. And that confidence goes a long way. Rizzler maybe looking to crack in here, and he does. 1 HP, just not enough. Another person barely living.
That's true. Sneeze. Someone sneeze, please. Goodness. That's a Changa, though, which means she's going to be able to heal up pretty quickly. I love seeing Eclipse still have the aggression in this game and the ability to walk forward. That's a really good sign for them as they continue to go and try to come back from this 2K problem they're having, the 2K gold problem they're having right now. The deficit is not that big of a deal, especially if they can take challenges in the mid lane and take challenges objectives. And that's exactly what Eclipse can do. They can go ahead and walk at these Gold Furies, or even walk into the soul lane and possibly get a good gank if they wanted to. But I think this Gold Fury will be the target for either Eclipse or Stormcallers. I would hope that Stormcallers makes the aggressive call to go ahead and go for the Gold Fury right now with their lead.
More fisticuffs in the solo lane, both a quarter, 25% sure, health. But that's just what solo laners be doing. They both have some damage. They both have some defense. We might see a solo over there, but I think we keep our eye on them. We're going to see soon enough a solo kill, and I'm ready for it. Excited to see which way it goes in there. This is low for life. Staying on tower line. A sonic boom just off the mark. They're going to tower dive here. Uses a good special delivery. Chiron goes into the ult. Low for life is still chasing. Clone tanks a couple shots. Chiron gets landed on, but he sucks him back in and dashes through him. Chiron turns around the 2v1, gets the kill. ACookieNamedJoe is going to take out Voltcha on the other side of the map. But what a play. Talking about standing your ground and not afraid to fight. Chiron gets it done against, he should have died there. Has no right to live. GettinCawky getting the better out of this 1v1 as ACookieNamedJoe had to take on Voltcha earlier. Was going to get out of dodge. What a play over there in solo.
What a play. With such high sustained gods as well. So you have Sun Wukong that can go up in the air, and then the wonderful dance coming from Shiva. Wow, and this is has to be a big fight here for Eclipse.
Everyone just ready to rotate. What was a 1-on-1 now becomes a 4-on-2. GettinCawky nowhere to go but the skies and just barely gets out. But what else is new? Huntor has joined the fight. Does not have ultimate yet. It's coming up in a few seconds. YeetOnDaNaeNae now the one in trouble, cracking a bit off the mark. But Chiron is taking damage. Tiger Form comes out to stop him just before the tower. But he's still too tanky. Not going to fall just yet. 4 members of Stormcallers are here. Going to go straight on to low for life. Changa ult going to finish that one off, doing in a massive amount of damage as there's no magical defense for Wukong. And now everyone wants to separate, or do they? Because Gold Fury is here and they're all around. Looks like Stormcaller is going to take the initiative and start it up and just hope that Eclipse walks away.
Changa is not a raw, but also Changa can still heal. But Eclipse is still here, 4 members strong against 5, and a low hard killer right now. Rizzler already behind.
Oh, it was an ambush. They turned it around, but OLK is getting caught out on the backside. ACookieNamedJoe going to take him down. Rizzler finally falls as he came around thinking he was sneaky, but Stormcallers were ready, and immediately the target selection was there. The shot calls were there. They turned and burned and got him out of the fight. Someone set up an ambush here. Teams are still around. Freya has gone back to farm for the time being. Solo laners are here. No one wants it. That fight was enough. Now they for sure are going to go back to farming. Low for life just going to get some poke on the way back to the solo lane now.
I loved the call by Stormcallers there, to be honest with you. It felt like there was an opportunity for Gold Fury. There for sure was, but I think they probably should have gone for a kill before they went for Gold Fury again, because they already had gotten 1 kill, and they should have just gone for 1 more. It just comes with time. I think it was, you said last game, this is week 2. And so with time, I think they would get that kill and then go for Gold Fury, or just heal up with Chang'e and then go for Gold Fury. But when your tank is less than a quarter health, it's going to be a rough situation to try to get Gold Fury this early in the game. It's only 14 minutes. That's typical for higher level play, Immortal, Godlike, or even SPL play. But I like this call from Eclipse. If they actually want to go on this Pyromancer or again get mid, would be a great situation for them right now.
Rizzler looking like he might throw out a Kraken here soon. We'll keep our eye on it as Voltcha throws out a Fear No Evil and gets YeetOnDaNaeNae very low. Gonna have to go back into the jungle. I'm a huge fan of how they played that Gold Fury, because time and time again we see it with so many games, especially coming out of week 1, that they start up an objective and there's not a strong voice in the comms. And when people come around, they're going, well, let's watch this 1v1 real quick, see if it's gonna come out to be something. Ultimates are available. They're going to separate. So many people start it up, teams show up, and no one makes a strong call to say drop it or attack or follow through and we'll 50-50 it. They immediately turned and went on that Poseidon, and that's what you want to see. Pillars comes out, GettinCawky, not a lot of places to go. Gonna beats Aegis just across the line. OLKxHARDKILLER rides the rocket into the tower, gets the kill, and is gonna get out. Redneck is there, but is he truly out, as OLK is everywhere you don't want him to be? Sonic Boom comes through, doesn't hit anybody. He's gonna chase Voltcha under tower. Not enough damage there to get him, and now OLK standing toe-to-toe with 3, 1 nearby, not scared. Use the ult, it's gonna be plenty safe.
I love the Rage pickup on Mercury. This is an item that has not been picked up as of lately. I'm going to explain it to you because we're not going to be able to hover over it for you. But it just gives you so much crit chance out of the blue for getting kills. Speaking of crit chance, you don't want to get caught there like the Rizzler is, and there's an Aegis out from him.
Rizzler with a late Aegis took a lot of damage right off the bat, but he is a fast Poseidon, but you're not faster than a blink. Hunter comes through and finishes what he started, and now it's a 3-on-3 with 1 on the way on this Gold Fury. Let's see if it's a similar thing where they push him out and then go for the objective. Pillars just creating an escape path for them to get away. They're probably gonna have to give up this purple buff, and they do. Now 5 members of Stormcallers ready to take down the first Gold Fury of this match. 16.5 minutes in. No one really in position. No Sonic Boom. OLKxHARDKILLER not very healthy. I think they're gonna let this one go as Chiron's gonna zone way far out, but he didn't zone a OLKxHARDKILLER, and he's gonna come in and steal it. What a play! Hung around, knew he couldn't show face, let Chiron go mess with YeetOnDaNaeNae. He took all the heat, came around the corner and stole it. Beautiful play, exactly what they needed.
It's exactly what they needed. 4-9. That's not too big of a loss now. And Low Life this entire time, or Low 4 Life, was over here in the solo lane just farming that entire time, which puts him not ahead, but he's catching back up again after being 0-2. And there we go, the Rizzler with a big kill in the mid lane onto Huntor. That's not a kill you're going to see that often, because Chang'e is basically a counter pick to the entirety of Poseidon's kit, especially the Kraken with the invulnerability phase that she has in her too.
You absolutely have to play it really smart, and that speaks to the type of gamer that Rizzler is. You have to bait out the immunity and then go in with the Kraken. It's so hard to do when that's so much of your damage and what you just instinctively want to spam to get that one-shot kill. Really good play, and he needed that on the back of a great Gold Fury. And talking about Low for Life over there farming, it's so curious to see that, because that happens a lot, right? You're like, hey, I'm not coming to this fight, I'm behind, I'm gonna farm. And sometimes it doesn't work out well, where you're like, hey, we're losing this fight without you, as we see something start up around the Stygian Beacon. But when you're over there, you're farming, you're happy, getting a lot of waves, and your team takes the objective, that's got to feel good for your team. You're like, yeah, I knew that would happen. That's why I stayed farming. Sonic Boom comes through. Rizzler is going to give Voltcha immediately. Barely had a chance to play. Chiron going to go to the ult, try and do a little damage to Stain a little bit. Met by a Kraken on the way out. That's a double kill for Rizzler. He is just feeling it right now in this Poseidon, and he's not missing.
I love to see the Rizzler actually prevailing in this game. Last game it did not feel as good for the Rizzler on the Heimdall, but ahead this game and doing very well with that lead. It's a very small lead, only like a level or so, but that's what you need from your mid laner, and that's what you need after a game like last game. I love GettinCawky over here, split pushing, getting some towers. We see this now in the solo lane coming from Sun Wukong. We see it now from GettinCawky in the dual lane. A lot of farming going on from both Eclipse and Stormcallers and objectives getting taken, and team fights occurring. This is the entire package of what Smite is all about, and especially what the SDL is all about. These Divine games are showing us exactly why they should never be disrespected or like not looked at. They're some of the best players in our league.
I think that's important to know. This is the Divine Division. We have 4 divisions. This is the 3rd down. By no means is this the worst division, the 2nd worst division. There is such a wealth of player experience and skill in every single one of these divisions. And every time we watch one of these sets, it's always so surprising what comes out, the mechanics, the strategies, the spicy plays, the spicy picks. All of these players are so good and so entertaining to watch. GettinCawky gonna come straight in. OLKxHARDKILLER misses the whoop, but look at that strafing speed. Can't strafe the Chang'e ult. Use the blink to get in there a little bit quicker. Gonna take that one down, helping his friend out in the duo lane. A big play there. Chang'e kind of needed that. Been getting bullied by this Poseidon as of late. Chiron still bullying out the enemy solo laner. This time does not steal the blue buff. And they're just gonna do fisticuffs. We'll check in with them later. Not much is gonna happen over here. Make more of an impact in the team fights, which is what you see out of it. Actually, Low for Life taking a lot of poke, and really all they have is Soul Eater, a Glad Shield. Hybrid meta is crazy right now. So 20 and a half minutes in, we have a dead even gold line. It's tens of gold. That's about it. XP looking pretty even across the board. Definitely in favor mostly to Eclipse. Chiron up 2 levels on his counterpart, despite how much free farming he was doing. And now both teams posturing around the Yoni Fury, which would be a great objective to get. That's kind of what started things in game 1. Kind of all went downhill from there. A Kraken comes out with the beads, met by the Feardo Evil. Doesn't affect him as he pre-beads it. Sonic Boom comes through. Voltcha 1 HP, but if we know anything, he's going to get out. Danzaburo joins the fight. Okay, trying to do what he does best and live. Not going to be this time. Low for Life get 1. Rizzler fighting off in the backline. Huntor being dove by 2. Here's a Chang'e. Chiron taking on 3. Excuse me, taking on 4. Just being a bully, but he's not a Wukong this time. GettinCawky finally takes down Low for Life. Chiron gonna fall shortly too. OLKxHARDKILLER, both carries taking out the solos. And what to do now with advantage personnel, Eclipse. Just kidding. GettinCawky gets a double kill from the skies. And now it's an even game state. Lives with 1 HP. No! YeetOnDaNaeNae was around the corner. You're going to get that one. Voltcha in some trouble. Got to get away from a fast Poseidon. Cripples him a little bit. Autos are good. Gonna jump back towards a OLKxHARDKILLER. Cuts him off and finishes it up. Voltcha going to fall there now. 3 for 2. Eclipse advantage.
I love to see how close these team fights actually are. And I love to see Eclipse playing this really aggressively. That was all them pushing into that mid T1. And with the Rizzler, big ultimate, another big ultimate from him. And I gotta say, for Stormcallers, how they played last game, we're not exactly seeing the same present this game, and especially after that team fight. It did not feel like a very stereotypical Stormcallers on the front foot. They were for sure on the back foot there. They were getting cleanup kills on Low for Life, and cleanup kills as well onto people like YeetOnDaNaeNae. There were people, when you're getting cleanup kills, you're kind of happy, but you're kind of not. And speaking of that, not about kills, but about items. Last Gasp is going to be picked up by Chang'e. I love the item on Chang'e. It kind of reminds me of a good old, the good old healing item that everyone else used to pick up. It's on the same branch as that, but this one just helps heal your allies, and it does a little bit of damage as well. So great pickup coming from Chang'e. I love to see that.
All I love to see is good Smite, and that's what's been given us here in this week 2 set. I mean, we can't say it enough how it's just so surprising. So many teams, so many players would crumble under the pressure that's being applied on both sides. They're just going at them nonsensically, just all aggression all the time, right in their face, and they're being matched with equal aggression. And you don't see that often, and as you can tell, it's making for some entertaining Smite. Stygian Beacon going to be coming up here about 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Stormcallers going to make their way over to the Gold Fury pit as Eclipse has taken down the Pyromancer. Ganesh is around a corner. Already one objective has been stolen. Let's see if they zone here. Chiron's being met in the mid lane, and so is Voltcha by 3 members of Eclipse. They're trying to burn down Oni Fury. Low for Life has come in, TP'd in, and straight to the ult. YeetOnDaNaeNae taking down Voltcha, who just used beads. Chiron committed the ult there, so that's not going to be helpful next time he takes on a 1-on-4. And things have kind of fizzled out. It seemed like it was maybe another bait where they were trying to start it up and force a fight that they could jump somebody, but everybody just currently too safe.
And everyone being too safe is not a bad situation sometimes. We do like to see some aggressiveness always. As I was saying, these two teams have been aggressive in their own ways, but to be safe is to be smart. And I like to see the aggressiveness from Stormcallers and kind of the safety from Eclipse, but here's the aggressiveness coming from them right now.
Ganesh says go, 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 and everyone else joins suit. Low for Life pretty low as Rizzler's taking on a 1-on-1 with Huntor. GettinCawky had finished out ACookieNamedJoe. Rizzler takes down Huntor, and when it looked like he was just gonna fall, way to make something out of nothing. It looks like he's actually getting out. GettinCawky has a double kill now into Redneck Yoda, and Voltcha chases down Low for Life, finishing it with the toss. And now Stygian Beacon looked like it was gonna be an easy capture, got contested, eventually still went to Stormcallers.
Objectives are not as easy for Stormcallers this game because of the Freya. Freya, as you can see right here, is not exactly the same meltage as an Izanami is, especially. Sonic Boom is available here. This could be another steal for Eclipse. YeetOnDaNaeNae is challenging it.
And Hardkiller is so low that he could immediately get him. It doesn't get as it goes through. He comes back. They get it! They've stolen another one! Voltcha gonna get YeetOnDaNaeNae for his troubles, but it feels a little bit worth when there were only 2 members alive the whole time and they stole the objective. Rizzler getting hunted down. He's gonna try and get something out of nothing once more. OLK almost fell there. Rizzler with the Kraken in the back line gets Voltcha just before death. This man is insanity right now. He's going in and has no right to do anything but die and pick someone and takes them to the grave with him.
Noob, how have we not seen this? I can't hover it again, but Poseidon, the Rizzler, has Seer of the Jungle. This is an item.
Hey, let him cook.
That,
all right.
Yeah, let him. Yeah, I know. Man's over here.
I can say all kinds of things about it. The man's going crazy. I might start building Seer of the Jungle on my Poseidons. I don't know.
What Seer of the Jungle does for you is it shows where wards are on the map after you kill a jungle buff. It shows for about 30 seconds, sometimes 15 seconds, however long it takes you to get to that area where the buff is, where the ward is. But cool item to see picked up, especially when you're a basic attack base god like Poseidon. And it's funny enough that while I'm talking about this, the Titans are pushing down the lanes. This typically would be like a 5v5 fight right here, but because of what just occurred, there's no 5v5 here. This is Eclipse just clearing a Titan. They're probably not going to do much more with it. They might be able to take a tower, but instead, not probably going to push too far with this.
This is just crazy. Just when I think I know what's happening, one of the teams just completely flip everything on its head. Eclipse was down 3 members, and they came in and said, no, my Oni Fury took it, got a kill, got out, and now they're still in the lead. Low for Life, real low. Chiron, even lower. Low for Life actually went into the Fear No Evil. Hunter going to pick up 1, just goes in, gets the kill, gets out. It's a 1-for-1 trade currently. Kraken finally off the mark thanks to some beads from Voltcha. No fault of his own. That T1 tower has no life, so Hunter might not want to step up. Dharmic Pillar is going to send him packing, and now Eclipse on the Fire Giant side of the map. And if they get that, I don't think you stop this train.
There's a god in this game called Kronos, and the god is all about time. Okay, and with time, YeetOnDaNaeNae is becoming stronger and stronger, and this Fire Giant is going to even make him more and more stronger. Oh no.
Low for Life was zoning 3 of them. It fell for it, but honestly, that was probably the plan all along because his team got the Fire Giant. It was uncontested.
Oh.
ACookieNamedJoe going to use the beads to get out, skipping his way across the map here. And Redneck Yoda going to just try and keep OK off of him. He was probably out anyways, but we know one thing, it's OK is not going to stop until either he's dead or the enemy is, as they push deep into the jungle. But now, 28 minutes in, headed towards the 30-minute mark where a lot of things get squirrely. So far, Eclipse in control of this game. Honestly, just barely, despite what we've seen. If we just look at the game state, if we zoom out a little bit, it's only 2K in favor of Eclipse, but it's also 5 kills in favor of Stormcallers, who have seemingly been controlling this map. They choose when objectives start off. Eclipse comes in and steals them, seem to get wiped, and then end up just winning fights somehow, even though it looked like they just lost the fight.
Yo, yeah, they choose when objectives start. They don't choose when they end.
It's just back and forth. This is such an even matchup. YeetOnDaNaeNae looked like he's trying to pull a little sneak here. Does have Sonic Boom and is looking at GettinCawky, who does have his ult. Could get up to sky. He's going to make his way in the jungle. Looking for some help, but Rizzler's already there. And it's already taken 75% of his health. There is the Sonic Boom. Was a little off the mark, but still got the attention of the ult. And Low for Life's going deep on 3. Eclipse is trying to back him up. Here comes the Terra ult. Kraken not going to hit anybody currently. Dharmic Pillar's out now. And it's separated the fight. It's just caused a little rift that no one can go either way. And no one falls. A lot committed there. And as tradition, a lot of people should have died, but nobody did. And Primal Fury easily going to go the way of Eclipse.
I love to see Eclipse in this position. This feels totally different than last game. They are in the driver's seat. They are totally in the driver's seat here because of the steals, the 2 steals especially, and because they've been playing the front foot. They've been playing the front foot the entire time past 20 minutes. They took the fight in the mid lane. They are taking the fights after the Gold Furies. They are taking the fights in right lane and at Fire Giant. So if they continue to do this, this could be a spell for either a repeat of what Stormcallers did last game, because we saw them get to this exact point right here at 30 minutes, and then literally throw their lead away like it was a banana peel, basically, right? And they can do that, but also they could just take this and run with it. They could push down right, mid, and left, get all 3 towers, or just force down a Fenix if they wanted to at this point, and easily win this game. This is all in their hands, and it's all going their way. There is, speaking of the first thing I said in the beginning of this game, there is not a spectral answer right now from Stormcallers, which means YeetOnDaNaeNae is getting away with these crits. One. Oh, just got it? Just got it. Okay, there it is. Okay, well, you've answered
my prayer. They heard your calls and they answered. They said, all right, we'll do it. I see what's happening here. Let's pretend we haven't seen the last 31 minutes of this game, the last 37 minutes of game 1. What is the standard textbook Smite strategy answer for how you play this if you're Eclipse? Because they seem in control. Chiron not even going to let us wonder. He said, let me show you what the play is. Dives straight onto Rizzler, who looks like the problem in his eyes. Uses Beast Aegis, a Sonic Boom back across the map to get a kill onto Voltcha, and a cookie named Joe falls to Chiron. A 1-for-1. And this is what I'm wondering. How do you win these fights? It's so even. Low for Life taking on 4 members. These solo laners just want to do it all, and they sort of are. And now it's Stormcallers who are making it happen. They're the ones pushing it down. Eclipse are the ones backing up. Despite just losing Fire Giant, it just fell off. But we said they were in the driver's seat. And now the button has been pressed on the other side, and a T2 is being threatened by Stormcallers.
I'll answer your question, even though they did it. If I were a cookie cutter Eclipse and a cookie cutter Smite player, and I was watching the SPL and I said, this is what you should have done. I was a coach, you know. I'm not that person. Oh man, look at this, by the way. This is a really good position for Stormcallers to retake this fight onto the Rizzler or Redneck Yoda. It's not going to happen. I'll just want to say that real quick. But cookie cutter play is control and patience. You have to have control and you have to have patience if you're an Eclipse. Push up all your waves, push up as many waves as possible, and then group up and take another steal. You have got to be kidding me, Eclipse.
It's just, you can't guess what's going to happen next. A big Kraken comes out, but GettinCawky takes to the skies to avoid it. It's insanity. You're like, Stormcallers, yeah, they're going to get the pyro. Of course they are. They're the ones with their foot on the gas here. They're the ones controlling where we go. And then, boom, Eclipse walks in and says, thanks for getting that 98% for us. We'll take it from here. And that is just, I mean, the first one might have been a fluke. The second one, you might have got lucky. The third one kind of seems like this is just how they take objectives. Eclipse just lets the other team do the bulk of the work, and they come in and say, thank you very much. We'll take that, and we'll go to the next one. Fire Giant has been started up. Dharmic Pillar is going to use to burn it a little bit. Again, the zoning is coming out, and again, Low for Life is going to pay for it. But again, it's going to give his team the Fire Giant, which is now an EFG. I'm starting to think this is not happenstance anymore, and this is a play they drew up in the locker room. You go sacrifice your life. We'll get the EFG. We'll take it from there once you spawn in 40 seconds.
Yeah, all 4 members of Eclipse have the EFG, which is a great position to be in, as I've already said multiple times for Eclipse. But I like this push from Stormcallers. They have a 4v5, and it looks like Eclipse doesn't want to challenge it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody told Stormcallers that Eclipse took the EFG because they're just doing what they do. They're like, yep, next is the T2. Let's push it down. EFG who? They get the T2 with 0 contest. And they're going to move over, looks like the tier 2 in mid, and maybe a Oni Fury, which is up. I'm a little scared for them to start up the Oni Fury, but it's just, there's no phasing happening. The mental tenacity of all 10 of these players is insane. No matter what happens, no matter what doesn't go their way, they're still sticking to the game plan. Chiron can go in the ult to just try and get away. Kraken's going to take a good chunk of damage, and the Riptide all as well. YeetOnDaNaeNae is going to fall and 1 punch, 2 punch, boom. Chiron's going to fall on the other side of the map, but he dragged players so far away. It can't happen again. Looks like they're going to commit to it. Fear No Evil takes out 3. That's how you zone. That's what we want to see, Stormcallers. Way to learn from the lesson and take down your Oni Fury, and they're just going to tuck and roll and get out and reset. Now T2 push down, and Rizzler and Yeet moving in the mid lane. It's going to take a couple seconds for them to get there. They might be able to burn down this mid Fenix. They're going to try it. Bomb comes out. Mid Fenix is gone. All 5 members are here for the Eclipse. 4 members that are alive for Stormcallers. A blink in from Changa. Going to ult. Beads immediately for Yeet. And now the reverse attack. Dharmic Pillars coming out. GettinCawky nowhere to go. There's so much in his way. Eventually gets to the skies. And live for the Sonic Boom from distance. Way downtown. YeetOnDaNaeNae is going to finish that one up. But now he's under a Phoenix. Has Aegis. It's going to help. EFG sustain. Doesn't get caught out. Kraken's already back up. Voltcha, excuse me. Trying to get away from the Tiger. Chasing him down. Just going to get a little bit of damage as Rizzler and Low for Life take down 1 each. They're thinking about taking down this left Phoenix. Chiron trying to cause some problems. Just going to let his team come back. But that's 60 seconds. You can't stall for that long. This might be an end call. Eclipse have their sights on the Titan, and they're starting it up. OLKxHARDKILLER is in trouble, but so is the Titan. 25%, 10%. Game 2 is Eclipse. They answered what happened in game 1, came out with a new strategy, and looked damn good out here in game 2. We're going to a game 3. Back to you, Desk.
Going to a game 3 indeed. Eclipse taking what they learned from game number 1, realizing what they did wrong, and transitioning that into a better game number 2 to set the set to become a 1-1 across the 2 teams to make it a game number 3. Jeering, what did you see that game?
I saw some beautiful mid-game locker room adjustments. That was just a beautiful turnaround. Game 1, they had a little bit of trouble, saw some success, but ultimately fell a little bit short at the end. But this time, Eclipse was not taking no for an answer. And while the Rizzler may not have been up to date with wards, he was certainly up to date with player damage, dropping 48,000 player damage. That's nothing if not a Herculean effort to make something happen.
Yeah, looking absolutely amazing, being able to zoom around the map and getting really great peel out of Redneck Yoda that game as well. There was a lot of team fights that looked like they should have died, but the peel coming out from the Nesha was just enough to get them out. And thanks to the movement speed of Eye of the Jungle and also of Doomorb, was able to zoom around the map and be able to escape and live a lot more engagements than this Poseidon should have lived, and allowing for a fantastic game coming out from the mid laner on Eclipse and a win to get them on the board and to make sure that this game goes the full best of 3. And honestly, that's not too surprising coming out of these 2 teams. Again, we saw just how good Eclipse was able to fight back when they were behind in game number 1. And so it makes sense that they could easily be able to take a game number 2 in order to set this set to the game number 3.
Yeah, it really was just all around a great effort from Eclipse. Some of the objectives that they tried pulling didn't go the way that they're looking for both sides, and eventually Eclipse stole one too many, and they just really made it work. Some of the issues that they found in game number one, they figured it out, adjusted with an entirely different draft this time, made the adjustments that they're looking for, figured out what they're doing, and just made the dream happen. Brought it back. We're going to a game number three now, so they're going to be pulling out all the stops. I cannot wait to see what they have planned next.
Yeah, I definitely don't think that. Again, they like you said, a brand new comp going into game number two. So I definitely do not think that they will look to have a brand new comp going into game number three. They had some really strong things that they had that they utilized in game number two. So I fully expect them to utilize them in game number three. But we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna throw it to a quick break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, SDL fans, and to a game number three between Stormcallers and Eclipse. Jeering, what are you looking forward to here in game number three, and what are you expecting for picks between these two different teams?
I'm expecting to see a little bit of what we know is tried and true, some meta picks going on, but I expect to see at least a couple comfort picks going on here. We've seen a few strategies. We saw some of the teams work, some of them not quite so well, but Eclipse definitely got it figured out. They knew what they were looking for in game number two, made it work. Game number one went relatively okay for a little bit, but Stormcallers had a pretty decent grasp of it, at least for a decent portion of the game. Game number two, though, Eclipse really just switched up their draft, played something that they were comfortable working with, made it work extremely well. So I really think we can expect to see something that they are just comfortable playing and can just synergize really well with it.
Yeah, it seems like the momentum shift between this set is really starting to transfer a little bit. It really felt like Stormcallers had all of the momentum in game number one, and then a little bit of fight back around like the 25, 30-ish minute mark from Eclipse, but and they ended up getting a starting to catch up and really eliminate that deficit that they had in that first game. But then Stormcallers ultimately were the ones who ended up winning that game. But now when we get into game number two, it wasn't quite the same story. And it was an incredibly even game. Again, it was like a 23-minute mark or something like that. And there was less than 100 gold in between these two teams and just so incredibly close between these two teams. And so if the trends from game number one and game number two continue, we might just see Eclipse really get a hold of the early game and transition pushing well into the late game here in game number 3. But they're no longer first pick as they were in game number 2, as it looks like Stormcallers elected to become first pick here in game number 3. And the Kali ban and the Baba Yaga ban are already both off the table. Nothing too much to say about these two. We're kind of expecting some of these similar bans that we have seen in games 1 and 2.
Oh, absolutely. There goes the Ganesh ban. We saw this happen in game number 1. It seems like Eclipse just really loves picking that Ganesh, and Stormcallers knows exactly what they're looking for, and just really not interested in playing against it. There goes the Ravana once again. Just about the same bans that we saw from game number 1. The question is, are they going to go ahead and get rid of the Sun Wukong? Or are they going to just leave that open just in case Stormcallers decide to pick up a Jormungandr first pick and risk giving it over to Cairo?
You know, here's the moment of truth. If Stormcallers elect to pick that Wukong, looked incredibly strong in game number 1, very dominant, and in game number 2, going the opposite side, and once again looked fairly good. And so with that table, both these teams obviously show that they really like the pick. So it wouldn't be too surprising if there's a little bit of a fight over it. And a first lock coming in from Stormcallers, taking the Wukong for themselves. Cairo looked phenomenal with it in game number 1, and that is something that you might be a little bit scared of if you're Eclipse going into game number 3.
They definitely felt its strength in game number 1, and
Can you
it's
keep
no
up?
surprise that Stormcallers wants to prioritize that here once again in game number 3. But Eclipse looks like they have something a little bit different planned, going once again for that Danzaburo. They really want to just switch it up, pick something that they
The
know they
law
can work with,
returns to this
and
land.
they're really bringing in the heat with this one. Here comes Tyr.
Yeah, tier. Neither team electing to really look at this tier yet at all this set, but not too surprising in my opinion to see this Danza again. Again, looked really great here in game number 2. So why not just look to draft it again here in game number 3? And again, it's not a pick that a lot of people have been playing or seeing very recently. So if it's a comfort pick and you felt great on it in game number 2, then why not just run it back in game number 3? Again, I think the only other set that we've seen it in is one godlike set. I just can't remember what ADC elected to play it in that set, but I think that's the only other time here in SDL this season that we have seen this Danza lock in. But a Neja getting locked in from Stormcallers and a Terra on top of that with the Earthen Fury, they're looking for some team fights, and I'm expecting some big follow up out of the mid laner for Stormcallers.
Oh yeah, they're absolutely preparing something nasty, and I certainly don't want to be on the receiving end of it. So I gotta feel just a little bit bad for Eclipse. That's a Naja and a Terra. We've already seen what Terra can do. We know Naja is dangerous all the time. But speaking of dangerous, we see Loki. If there's anybody that just gets in and causes chaos on the back line and just is a real nuisance no matter what point in the game it is, Loki is one of those characters that takes that mantle.
Yeah, absolutely. And Eclipse, after locking in the Loki, elect to immediately take that Raw off the table, being one of the best gods to follow up off of Neja Ultimate. Windfire Wheels has amazing setup, and it's so easy to time a Raw Ultimate and a Celestial Beam on top of that. So, and just be able to eviscerate anybody that gets taken up to the sky. Love seeing the Raw taken off the table. Poseidon getting taken off the table as well. Stormcaller saying, hey, you looked too good in it in game number 2. I don't want to see it in game number 3, and rightfully so, in my opinion, because also has very good follow up off of that Neja. But kind of going back to this Loki pick a little bit, it feels like as for week 1, it felt like that there was not a whole lot of anybody playing Loki in any of the divisions. But then all of a sudden in week 2, some people have started talking about it and playing it here and there, and now it's starting to see some decent play coming out, and it'll be interesting to see. We got a really good initiation with the tier. Loki's not very good at initiation, so you kind of need a support and a solo laner that has
Time
great
to
initiation to help set up
burn.
and facilitate for this Loki to be effective in team fights. And so with the tier locked in, that's not too surprising, but we're going to have to also potentially see something out of the support as well. But Agni has great follow up off of the tier or the Loki ultimates. So Eclipse looking very good with that, and also taking away the Agni from Stormcallers, who probably would have liked to have taken that alongside the Neja, because Agni also has great follow up off of the Windfire Wheels.
Yeah, like you're saying, this Windfire Wheels is very, very dangerous. You get any mage that has a
Face
big
the wrath
damaging
of a
ability,
sorceress scorned.
especially like the raw searing pain, can just absolutely obliterate anybody. Just 2 abilities and they're just gone, deleted from the map. Morgan Le Fay, very good on the crowd control side. Burst damage a little bit less than something like the Ra, but still a threat nonetheless. The crowd control that you can get from that is really going to be
win
a difference
peace by
maker and
force.
can really help out against that Loki. So the backline can be very, very safe, especially since Terra can immune the knockup from the tier with her passive. So Stormcallers looking with a very, very solid draft so far.
Yeah, and Morgan Le Fay isn't typically somebody that you would necessarily see with the Windfire Wheel setup, but has a lot of burst potential and also has great CC to follow up with it. Again, you can get the fear off, you can have a slow field on their landing as well, and also a really great counter matchup for the tier because of her 3 Shroud of Wildfire. She can just mark the tier with her 3 and it does tick damage over time on him. But a tier has 2 different dashes, and with her 3, if she marks somebody with it, if they dash, they're taking even more damage on top of that. And so, really great counter pickup just in that alone. And not to mention, I mean, there's an Agni as well that has an escape ability. So somebody else you can mark. And now the Xing Chen, another god that we haven't seen a lot of yet here in SDL. I think there's only been one other set so far that have been played with the Xing Chen. And something that I think is being slept on a little bit and has really great setup and appeal for their team, which is exactly what they need with this Loki pick out of the jungle.
Loki is definitely one of the more dangerous junglers here, especially since we're not seeing the Hunbats anymore. So having that wide CC burning type of ability, it's going to be a little bit more challenging since they don't have quite the same area denial, but Loki is going to be very annoying, especially to get in on that Morgan Le Fay with Tyr causing such havoc and really just demanding you acknowledge his presence. Loki can very easily sneak around the backside, stab you in the back, take your wallet, and send you crying to the fountain while he's at it. So it's going to be a very dangerous game to play here. But as we're getting ready for game, do you have any final thoughts to wrap it up?
No final thoughts for me. I'm just excited to see this game number 3 between Stormcallers and Eclipse. Boys on the cast, take it away.
Thank you once again, Suun and Jeering, and we are back. Stormcallers Eclipse Divine Division Week 2, game number 3. iNooblet and Fenix here on the booth. I don't know what's going to happen this game, but what I do know is it's going to be awesome to watch. What can we expect, Fenix?
Yeah, it's my job to know, right?
Good
I'm
luck.
supposed to sit here and and read this book. I expect to see a lot more secure from the Stormcallers side. At least I hope to see a lot more secure, because I think if they would have secured more objectives, the game would have looked a lot different come the 30-minute mark. And then I also hope to see a little bit of different kind of play coming out of the Eclipse. But we're not seeing something very different in the mid lane. A lot of aggression already coming out from Voltcha. Great god to pick to be able to do that on. This is even different than a Humbot's Windfire Wheels. Great ultimate if you're looking to create team fights and chaos and anything. It's a great pick coming out from Voltcha on the Jaw.
And we did see Neja banned away earlier in this set, and there might have been a reason for that. I'm looking forward to seeing why it was banned and see if it was because of Voltcha piloting it. Now, this might be the longest we've gone without a first blood here. We've seen it 2 times in a row. If you're just now joining us, first blood has occurred in the mid lane early, both games. Taking a look at the state, this might be a different game, Fenix. We do tend to see game 1 fireworks come out, just silly damage, silly plays. Game 2, reverse aggression from the opposite team who didn't like that they lost. But then game 3 tends to kind of, more often than not, slow down. I don't want to say people play scared, as we see the classic fight up in the solo lane, but it seems to be more cautious and more respectful of what could occur, because now everything is on the line this game 3.
sudden death, right? We see it in regular sports as well, and I don't see the safety from Eclipse right now because this is a 3-man gank from Stormcallers.
ACookieNamedJoe did get CC'd out a little bit. It's going to head back towards the tower, and Redneck just going to do some body blocks. But now if we look over solo lane, Chiron in trouble. He's got a Loki biting away at him. A YeetOnDaNaeNae going to get the first blood. Not the first time he's done that in this set. First time it's been in solo lane.
Wow. YeetOnDaNaeNae, I was going to say, I have something to say about Eclipse from last game before we get really deep into this game. I'm going to say at the 2-minute mark. 3 members, it was 3 separate members of Eclipse that stole objectives last game. It was YeetOnDaNaeNae, the Rizzler, and a cookie named Joe, also on the Dons of Burrow, I believe. Or was that GettinCawky on it?
Voltcha dives in and uses the Bastion just to get the ring toss out of him. He might have killed him before it, but that's such a minute, nuanced mechanic in the game that you can ring toss off those things, and it hurts so much. A great answer back from the Stormcallers jungler to even this up 1-1 as Eclipse dual lane taking a lot of pressure.
Yeah, and I like to see a good rotation. And Voltcha already pushing himself forward on... This might be what you were talking about, right? This might be what we were worried about when we banned the Najah, was Voltcha on the Jah. And if it's presenting itself already at the 3-minute mark with a great sash in the mid lane, 2 of them to be exact, actually, what's going to happen at the 10-minute mark? Because that's when Jah starts to actually become something to really worry about. You get taken up in the air as a carry, someone with not much health, you're going to come down either dead or very close to dead. And if the team is around at all for Stormcallers, you're going to be dead within a couple seconds. I love the Jah pick again. I will keep repeating myself again and again.
Now, we talked about how good Crit was on Mercury, forcing the other team into a Spectral, and we saw how much it was doing for YeetOnDaNaeNae. So for life, in a little bit of trouble here as Chiron's back on that Wukong, which I did not know was a comfort pick, but certainly looked like one in game 1. Do you think Nejah should build into Crit here as we'll keep our eye on this fight? All right, Redneck Yoda CC'd at the tower line, nowhere to go. Terra ult has come out, GettinCawky gonna get that one, and Huntor has come in, cleaned up our... And YeetOnDaNaeNae again, GettinCawky the fight. We thought it was gonna be a slow game, and they said no. This is just game 1 again. What did you mean? Voltcha with a huge sash to peel for OLKxHARDKILLER. Trades back and forth. We find ourselves what was a slow 1-1, now a 3-2 out of nowhere. So now we can get back to, should Voltcha build Crit on this Nejah?
I will go just the opposite of if it's, oh, it would be okay if he does. I'm not going to say that. It would be a problem if he builds Crit.
Problem
on
for Eclipse?
Najah. No, it would be a problem for himself. I don't think, unless you're building last item Deathbringer, that would be the only Crit item I would ever build because of the passive that gives you just more damage when you hit crits, 25% more damage. I'll take it all day. That's a great thing to have as a passive for an item. But if you build more than just Deathbringer, an only Deathbringer, I don't want to see a Wind Demon. I don't want to see anything else. I don't see Rage. Just build that, and you'll be critting people beyond what you would expect with only 35% crit chance. It's ridiculous what Jah can do with a very little amount of crit. Even with 0% crit, she still crits in the air, or he still crits in the air.
I really hope we don't see a Wind Demon, as that would be weird here in the current state of items that are available. But YeetOnDaNaeNae find himself in trouble. Went stealth, got found out by OLK, and up to the skies. Voltcha takes him. Nowhere to go, gonna land right in the middle of the walls. Gonna ult out, somehow still alive. But the response from Voltcha to take him down, we can hear Jing Tin spinning around in the background somewhere. There he is, just taking one-on-one with Huntor. Somehow YeetOnDaNaeNae lives. No right to, but what's new here in this set as a great combo from Rizzler to just start burning down Huntor. But he's gonna live. And then Low for Life is gonna live with 1 HP. Everyone should be dead. No one is. Welcome to game 3 of this Divine set. We've been saying it the whole time. Voltcha looking to try and get Rizzler, but he's gonna dash away right into the welcoming arms of HARDKILLER. Beads came out. HARDKILLER is getting so many kills. He's so good on this Terra. He's played it, and Eclipse has said, that's not the issue. I'm telling you, this is an issue. Someone, when we get into week 3, get this Terra out of here. This man is looking phenomenal on it and is cleaning up kills. At one point, he was like 4-0 in game 1 with this Terra. Beautiful play. He's always in the right position. Now we take a look at it. 7 minutes in, 6 kills. About 100 gold difference. Nothing at all to speak about. Levels pretty even. A bit of a switcheroo going on each side. 1 level up. That could change here soon. Chiron getting his own blue buff this time. Something new to see. Usually challenging the other one.
I love everything that's going on in this game because it feels like it's just the other 2 games, just a little bit different. It's like a fanfic of the last 2.
This just felt like one
games.
long game. That's all.
Yes.
It's just one game.
Hard resets, but there's the washing machine.
Yeah, he's gonna throw Hardkiller back to his friend there. No follow-up. A bit of show of force, as we like to call it. Voltcha has showed up to the fight, and now it's looking bad. But just kidding. YeetOnDaNaeNae is here. Assassinate has come in, but take it to the sky. Let's see you get out of this one, Yeet, as he lands right into the welcoming arms of Hardkiller. They can't get him, though. He is too slippery. Head out into the jungle, dodging everything. Doesn't get past the walls. Still working his way out. On the other side, GettinCawky is falling low in the 1v1. Yeet somehow turned it around. Might have opened up his hacks as we were off screen. We couldn't exactly verify it. Turned everything around, and a big ultimate from Low for Life wants to get some here. Was tired of the 1v1 punches with Chiron. Both have showed up. Oh, Redneck Yoda gonna get caught out by Chiron. Nowhere to go. Didn't have the washing machine as he threw it away earlier. Hardkiller gonna get back into tower. I don't even remember my point I was gonna say. It was gonna be about a state of this game and how they keep playing back and forth. Low for Life is in the enemy jungle right now. 8 minutes in, gonna find himself running into a Morgan Le Fay. Huntor knocks up and away. Low for Life does not have ultimate. Gonna fall into the fear, right into the welcoming arms of Cairo, taking that one. An extended fight, eventually getting the solo laner for Stormcallers 2 kills.
Stormcallers playing this like they did in the first game, as we said, feels like really one long game, a 1 hour and a half. No, probably be about like 2 hour.
We're at 2
game.
hours currently.
Yeah, so this is starting to add up to a very long game. Might go for a world record here. Voltcha gonna hide around the corner, but 4 members of Stormcallers are on this side.
There's only one leaf. It's got to be him. Misses the stash and the juke, the CC that comes out from Dan's burrow, but the body blocks from Huntor. Doesn't want that rocket to get away. GettinCawky gonna take that kill. They now got to deal with the Redneck Yoda, who does not have ultimate. The current state is he just used it. 3 members from Eclipse here. There is just always a fight to be had. Everybody wants more. Eventually going to fizzle out as it does. The only member falling going to be ACookieNamedJoe, who just got ganked by everyone at his own purple buff.
I don't know if I want more, to be honest with you, at this point. I mean, I want to. Can we calm down for a second? And
No, I want more. Keep it going. It's so exciting to see just the confidence coming out of these players. You have to have a certain amount of confidence both in yourself and in your team to be making these plays. Where it's farm. Everybody rotate. Let's take this fight. Everybody turn around. We're being chased. Take this fight. The whole squad's here. It's a 6 minutes in, 10-man fight in the mid lane. It's wonderful to see. That's what Smite's about. Either way, it's entertaining. And who knows where this can go. Ticked over 10 minutes. Fire Giant has spawned. Gold Fury's been up for a hot minute. Who do you want to see? Who do you think is going to be the one in this game 3 to start up the first objective?
Please be Stormcallers and please be a Sakir. That's all I'm asking for is one Sakir. And this is a good position to be in, is already aggressing on YeetOnDaNaeNae. The Voltcha has been here before and has died.
It looks like there's going to trade a little bit of damage. Just kidding. The rotations have come in. It's what we've talked about. The rotation's always there. You think it's going to be a standard, even fight, and the squad is answering a call to attack every single time, right on cue. The comms of both these teams have to be so good. If I didn't have a label up on the middle of my screen, I didn't know these players, I would not know this was a divine game. Washing Machine comes out, can't throw Hardkiller back because he's on top of the monolith, but it was a good try. And Low for Life getting unhealthy over in the soul lane, gonna push back Chiron. Now has the majority of the health. Oxform gonna get him out.
Tier is a pick we haven't seen too much of, and this is something we have seen a lot of, is both of these side lanes literally just bullying each other. That is the name of the game. If there was a book that has been written for this entire thing, this is looking like game 1, but also this is looking like game 1 and 2 in the way of which dual lane and solo lane are just boxing each other, and that's all they like to do. Sometimes or most of the time, no kills come from it. But this may not be true right now because CookieNamedJoe is in a bad position.
Purple Bond has spuffed, and that means it's time to get a cookie named Joe. He goes to the rocket farm, gets body blocked again. GettinCawky up on the horse, chasing him down. He's very low, but on the edge. Redneck Yoda doing a fantastic job of body blocking, just keeping his carry alive. GettinCawky didn't have the dash up, couldn't go any further. And if you wanted to know where everybody else was, all you got to do is wait 4 seconds and stay with the fight. They're all here. Low for life, no longer in the solo lane. He's in the Gold Fury pit with the enemy solo laner, ready to brawl, chasing down Hardkiller, scaring him off. Stygian Beacon has spawned and is going to easily go to Stormcallers. They were the only ones ready for it there. Chiron may be looking to start something up near the green buff, but I think they probably just get oracles and posture around Gold Fury.
I keep saying I love, but it's a secure objective. We got to celebrate whenever Stormcallers secure an objective, and Beacon is an objective to secure right now. They got it. Okay, big win for Stormcallers right now. Now they gotta take that win of the easy Beacon and go ahead and say, let's get an easy Gold Fury. And how do you get an easy Gold Fury? You get a Gold Fury by taking a fight like you just did on the left side of the map, but you gotta get 1 or 2 kills and then just drop back to that Gold Fury, get it, and you're just kind of walking free, walking on the rainbow, or you're on Rainbow Road in Mario Kart. You know, it's whatever option you want to do. I keep doing these millennial jokes with you, Nooblet, because you know that's who we are. But I think Stormcallers are in a great position here to go ahead and go for Gold Fury in the next 3 or 4 minutes, and that's what I want to see.
I think it speaks volumes to how this game, or this set has been. If you take a look at the player damage charts, typically you see as Redneck Yoda going to use that ult once more, this time bringing Hunter into the fray. He uses Aegis smartly and the ult to negate the stun from the assassinate on YeetOnDaNaeNae. We're still putting out damage, but onto Hardkiller, and we happen to know he is hard to kill. But I wanted to say, as this looks like it's fizzling out, Rizzler might get a few more Agni bombs off. Typically you see a big canyon of player damage early in the game where it's solo laners who've nonstop been fighting each other, and then maybe mid laners or carries who are boxing, typically one or the other, and then everybody else kind of teeters off. The middle 6 people of this player damage chart are all so close to each other. Solo laners went back to lane, so they've been kind of getting away a little bit, but they're all so close in player damage because they've all been fighting together. And even look at Redneck Yoda, he's right up there. He's higher than Loki right now, who's feel like he's been fighting a lot, and he's just barely below Neja. And a couple minutes ago he was dead even with Neja. That just speaks to how these brawls are going. It's not just a 1-man 2-man gank, it is a full squad coming in to lay down some hate.
Miz wanted to get in on this 1v1 action. They like to do Rust 1v1 Modern Warfare 2 style, and the Rizzler has to run away from a chasing Voltcha. Voltcha has found himself in great positions to take large fights, but nothing has come from a lot of the ganks. Landing sashes, landing ring tosses, and even sometimes either missing or landing the big old ultimate Windfire wheels. But I expect to see that if Voltcha can get into a 4 or 5-man fight, that those ring tosses are going to become much more effective, and if they are missed, that's going to be a really big detriment to Stormcallers. I'm also like you. I'm very happy to see that these games going one or another, and they're going as team fights, team rotations. We had 5 people at Gold Fury at 11 minutes. That is extremely high level play, and that means that, as you said, their communication is on the next level. It's at like we have different divisions in the SDL, excuse me, and we call the highest godlike, and that's a godlike type of play, is to be at the Gold Fury at 10, 11 minutes, and that's exactly what these guys are doing. So they must be watching those types of games, or just have the experience, and their captains are leading them very well.
And it looks like these two teams have figured out the secret where you cannot win a Smite game alone. You're the best player on the field. It really doesn't matter how well you do. Typically, you can skew a game in your team's favor. But if you're not playing together as a team, you really just have no shot. And both these teams are playing together so well, which is why this is so even. Voltcha being hunted down by the rocket, but a sacrifice made by GettinCawky to body block it and then get away from the wash machine. Voltcha gonna eventually fall to YeetOnDaNaeNae, who was right around the corner with the ult. 2-on-3. Stormcaller still taking this. In fact, GettinCawky rides into the fight and cleans up the Loki. And now he's got to stand toe-to-toe with 2. Huntor has made his way over. Rizzler is just on the outskirts of it. Agni Bombs could change this, but Huntor gonna claim him up. OLKxHARDKILLER, Agni Bomb, or the Agni Bombs need to come in sooner. He eventually gets GettinCawky. He's running away from HARDKILLER. He doesn't want any of those problems. Just kidding. He wants all of those problems. Gonna get himself a double kill. Goodbye, HARDKILLER. Huntor now running for his life. Gonna put damage out on the way out. He could actually turn this. Redneck Yoda is very low, gonna get feared. Hunter looking for it. The knock up, the knock back, misses. Redneck Yoda is ticking health up. He's living. He's running back into the enemy jungle. Voltcha just out of place to stop him, but he's got a path back to Hunter, who never gave up on it. Gonna clean up that kill. Back and forth. You can't predict how these fights are gonna go, but either way, they're a fun time to watch them take place.
What is Cairo doing over here? He's just over in the left side of the map.
He's minding his
Made a
own
rotation.
business is what he's doing. He couldn't take these blue buffs from Tyr, so he decided to come over and take a purple buff. All he wants is put pressure out. OLK found himself in the middle of 3. This time, no rotations available to help him. He's going to fall down, and Voltcha heads over to the Pyromancer, but met by Low for Life.
Gold Fairy. This is a Gold Fairy call right here, or a Pyromancer call for the Stormcallers. I like Low for Life being right here in the position to possibly steal this. Don't do this against Stormcallers. Kill Low for Life before you do this. Take him into the air is Low for Life. This is a great opportunity for a kill.
Voltcha just using that Windfire Wheels as peel for his mid laner, but now needs peel himself. OK does everything he can, can't save his life. He can come in and clean that one up. That is 5-1 for the Loki, who seemingly looked like he's been attacked this whole game. Feels like he's always getting dove, and yet he has a great score line. Redneck Yoda got to get away from 3. Triangle of Death, GettinCawky rides in and cleans that one up. HARDKILLER standing alone in the Stygian Beacon, trying to stop Eclipse from taking it, and now 3 members are here. It's a 3-on-4. Low for Life pushes the carry away. Up into the cloud goes Chiron. Might land on Yeet. Does, and it takes out a huge chunk. With some help from Huntor, Chiron's gonna get that one and go straight back in on a cookie named Joe. Danzabro has turned the fight around. HARDKILLER trying to survive. Cookie named Joe now trying to do the same, as GettinCawky is holding Tyr off on the backline. Huntor eventually gonna get that one onto Danzabro, and Chiron has found Low for Life in the green buff. He's trying to heal, is gonna get out. Yes, he does for the time being. But GettinCawky was right there. There's always someone around the corner. You might as well just stand toe-to-toe with who's in front of you, because you're gonna run into 2 to 3. Windfire Wheels is back up, and so is Voltcha. Up to the sky. Jingtin gonna try and catch him on the way down. Doesn't do it. And Chiron gonna get another one. 4-1 and 3 for the Sun Wukong. Looking good on it in game 3 as he did in game 1.
Feeling very comfortable as Chiron. I think that's what you expect when you're picking a Sun Wukong every single game besides the second game, because it was taken away from you. I don't know why Eclipse didn't prioritize the Sun Wukong, because Chiron just is dominant, is playing in dominant fashion. He did in game 1. He's doing it here in game 3. And so if Eclipse and Stormcallers meet again in the future, because this will be a best of 3, winner will be decided here, I bet you money we're not going to see the Sun Wukong on Chiron again, because this is obviously one of his best comfort picks. Gold Fury down, Pyromancer up. This is going to probably go the way of Stormcallers, unless Redneck Yoda will join the crew of stealing objectives away from Stormcallers. I don't think that will be the truth, but maybe YeetOnDaNaeNae will. Nope. Stormcallers will secure the Pyromancer. Stormcallers have got to push this lead and got to do it right this time. Let's not repeat game 1. Let's go ahead and group up as 5. Let's walk and get these 2 towers that are remaining, especially the mid tower. Mid tower is a really nice objective to have. And let's get a kill, get Fire Giant, and win this game. Come on, Stormcallers, you got this. I'm rooting for you a little bit. I know I can't be doing that because I'm a caster, but I want to see you guys pull this one out.
21 minutes in, still very early in this game. A lot can change. 16-8 on the kills, which sounds good in theory, but last game Eclipse was down in kills and up in wins by the end, so there's no telling what can happen. Gold charts and XP charts did look a little bit skewed and a little bit tough to climb back, as it was about 5k in favor of Stormcallers and 8k XP. GettinCawky has 3 members over here. Immediately, YeetOnDaNaeNae jumps on him, and what am I looking at? GettinCawky can't go anywhere. He was trapped in the quicksand with his horse, and he fell for it. Voltcha gonna take a rocket to the face and try and get out, and he does, but leaves Huntor behind to 4 people from Eclipse. Gotta walk through a lot of damage to get back to tower. OLKxHARDKILLER has a double kill. OLKxHARDKILLER was gonna come around and help, now decides to take the long way around to safety.
I've never seen that before. Was it? I think it was Loki.
I think it was Loki
too.
decoy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stopped him, which, if done on purpose, amazing mechanical skill. If done on accident, hilarious.
That's better than a Ymir wall or like a Terra wall or anything like that. That is the tiniest little object that can stop you, and looks like he was on a merry-go-round. It looked like he was kind of sitting on it, like trying to go the entire time. But away from that, Eclipse, that's a great situation to be in. You want to go ahead and take those types of fights and win them and get a lucky or really good decoy onto GettinCawky on the Hachiman, go ahead and take it. Take those wins and go ahead and push with them. I want to see one of these teams go ahead and start to push with what they got, though. And I think the Cowards are doing that by taking this tower, which is a great choice for Stormcallers right now. Get a little more gold underneath your pockets. You know, you got a Donzer on the enemy team. No gold for him, but you get some yourself. And you guys open up the Fire Giant side. That tower is now gone. No security if they want to try to run away for Eclipse.
We just saw Chiron tick over to level 20. Massive in this game. 4 levels up on his counterpart. First 20 in the game. That's going to play dividends because we know he likes to rotate. And there's nothing worse. The only thing worse than a Wukong in your face during a team fight is a Wukong who is very high in levels in your face in a team fight. Excited to see that play out. But 16, we were just saying, it was 16-8 a second ago, 2 minutes ago. And then if you watch that crazy fight that happened over in Dual Lane, you would have never guessed that that Eclipse was down by half of Stormcallers' kills. Because they just looked so dominant. They played it so well. But let's start up another one and see what happens. Redneck Yoda going to take 2 and throw him away straight to a cookie named Joe. Chiron up into the air. Took a little bit of damage. Not too much. Redneck Yoda taking a lot more, and he's going to take a tiger to the back and be finished by Chiron. That's 1 down on the side of Eclipse and a Gold Fury, which is actually a Primal Fury, looking real juicy. But if we take a look at Low for Life here, he's sneaking around the back. He's a sneaky prior. He's going to leap in a bit early, but just going to cause a little chaos. Maybe get him off of it. We see a cookie named Joe in the background taking on a Fed Wukong. Primal has just now been dropped, and GettinCawky doing a lot of damage on Low for Life, who's got to walk through the whole team, but a sash and a fear and a knock around, and he can't get out. Eventually falls to the carry of Stormcallers. Meanwhile, Chiron wants to get himself an Agni, who has to Aegis the ticking damage because upgraded Bluestone is already a thing. Smart Aegis, he might have fell there, and now Stormcallers are free to get the Primal.
3,000 IQ play here from Stormcallers. They pushed the enemy team away before securing an objective. Yes, thank you. Thank God. Thank the gods if we're here in the Smite, gods and goddesses. And especially thank you GettinCawky, because that was, I saw him focusing out Low for Life the entire time. His team was kind of doing their own thing, either doing gold or pushing something else. I bet you money he was in the voice call being, guys, there's a tier back here. Can we just group up on him and kill him real quick? And that's exactly what they did, which ended up allowing them to get Gold Fury as well as pushing out the other 3 members of Eclipse. And look at this. The beacon's theirs as well, possibly.
Feels like we just saw a Stygian Beacon fight, but who wants another one? I know I do. Fight has been started up. Couple ults have already been committed with nothing fruitful coming out of them. Low for Light ulted in is now going to be in trouble as GettinCawky drops the jungler for Eclipse. Low for Life is taking on 3 right now. He's very low, but still pushing them away. Gonna have to try and get around the Pyromancer, but look at the pathing, always so good. Blinks past the root from OLK, and Voltcha comes in with a nice sash, moving his way forward for a double kill onto Redneck Yoda and a cookie named Joe, looking delicious. Voltcha goes in, might get the triple, just kidding. Chiron's got to get his stats up too. This is his first set of
Fenix.
the SDL Season 3. They're going to go right into this
Yes.
Phoenix. They got sustained from Terra. They only have a Rizzler to try and stop them.
I cannot believe that Stormcallers just did that so easily. This is totally night and day. The book is being rewritten now. We said this was a copy and paste of game 1 after the 5-minute mark, it's now feeling a lot different. They got down 1 Fenix. This is what happened in game 1, but they're going for Fire Giant this time. I love this call. It's very aggressive, but look at where the entirety of Eclipse is. Either on the grayscale or in their base. One's pushing down mid right now. Fire Giant already half health. Stormcallers is going to have a Fire Giant on their waist as well as their Titan pushing down mid.
If this is a book, I think it might actually be a script written for an M. Night Shyamalan movie, because we think we know what's going on, and all of a sudden there's a big twist that no one saw coming. This is looking a little reminiscent of game 1, where everything kind of started to go vastly in favor of Stormcallers when they got a 24, I believe, minute Fire Giant that was completely uncontested from Eclipse. They let it go. They said, we'll take our chances on Fenix defense, and those chances weren't good. And now, with an Order Titan marching down the middle lane and a Chaos Jungler marching down the left lane to get a little gold, it feels like a little bit of deja vu. And do you think the story is going to be similar? Do you think Stormcallers are just better equipped in this game 3, going back to the strategy of game 1, and are going to kind of just be too much for Eclipse to handle?
I hope so, right? Like, it's gotta... The camel's got to break at some point, and Stormcallers have got to do it right this time. I feel like it. There's always an opportunity. Eclipse showed us they were down 20k or 15k in game 1. And it didn't really matter to them. They came back and made that game a 1k difference at one point and took a Fenix, and that game was not in the way of Stormcallers at the 30-minute mark, and we're just about to be there. This is a big push for Stormcallers. If they can do this right, it would divert from book 1. It would totally change the story.
And I'm not going to count Eclipse out here, because from one moment, at 20 minutes, we were looking at the charts, and they were down almost 6k gold and 8k experience. And then 4 minutes later, after Stormcallers won a fight and took a gold Fury, Eclipse was only down 4k respectively for each category. So they are more than able to bring this back at any time, and they keep showing it. This is reminiscent of game 1 when they were marching down the left lane with Fire Giant. It was a great defense by Eclipse. Actually pushed them out and killed almost all of them, if not all of them. Let's see it again. A giant ultimate into 3 by Low for Life. Gonna start it off. Jingting gonna follow suit. Voltcha gonna drop Low for Life this time. Never again gonna let them defend like they did. And now everyone on Eclipse, one shot and running for the fountain. They just want to be able to defend. Gonna let this Fenix drop and try their luck on the next one.
Good play there by Eclipse to go ahead and retreat. Oh, Voltcha gonna get caught out here and actually lose their life. Unlucky.
Rare
To
bad
walk in the
pathing
mid
from
there.
Voltcha. We don't see that often.
We do not see that very often, but I'll go ahead and get to my point here, which is Eclipse for that situation was kind of a win. It wasn't like a super win or anything like that, but Titan is still alive at full health. That middle Fenix is about to come back up for them, and they end up getting a pick, a gift at the end of it through Voltcha. Kind of just walked into their hands. Free kill. Stormcallers will get the Gold Fury, keep their lead pushing their way, about 12k going in their favor. I would be looking towards the next Fire Giant behind Stormcallers, and then I'll be looking towards that right side of the map, or possibly getting that middle Fenix back down again, because I don't think that Eclipse are going to let that middle Fenix fall again very easily. They're probably going to try to defend that with tooth and nail, because they know they can win some of these fights. But I wanted to comment on this real quick. Low for Life had a great entry ultimate there, getting like 3 beads immediately. So I think if they can do that again and piggyback off of that, Eclipse can, then it's a very good possibility, as you said, that Eclipse, you can't count them out here.
And I think they played it correctly. Tyr leapt in, and immediately Redneck Yoda blinked in with his ult. I think it was just the timing was just barely off to where everybody had spread out by the time he got in there, because he ulted in and then fearlessed a bunch to the wall. I think if they go in together like that, so no one knows who's going to be the catalyst and who you got to beads, wait for the relics to come out, wait for the ults to come out, and then use Redneck Yoda, or just bide your time. Let Tyr go in and get out, wait for them to come back up. You just burned a lot, and now we hit with engagement number 2, which is what your comp's kind of built for. If you don't have beads, you're so susceptible to so many things on Eclipse side. Loki Assassinate could come in at any time and stun anyone, if not everyone, and start things bad. Agni bombs are always going to be coming out and stunning people, and that's going to cause havoc. And of course, Redneck Yoda's ult. So I think if they just play the relics correctly, I think it could be really useful. Now, that being said, CC immunity on the side of Stormcallers, right? Huntor so safe when he has his ult and also the self-peel. Voltcha has CC immunity. Chiron has CC immunity. GettinCawky has CC immunity. OLKxHARDKILLER can't be thrown or knocked up or away on the monoliths. So they have a lot of safety built into their kits. You just got to play around it. And I think Eclipse can make a play here. But EFG has now spawned. And, oh, it's set up an ambush here. Has been called. They know they creep into the Fire Giant pit. And this time they're going to catch somebody out. Or at least attempt to. Voltcha going to blink in. Sash off the mark. But Chiron was right there with Tiger form. Immediately two are thrown towards a rocket. It's going to go by two of them. Thread the needle all the way to GettinCawky. Who got a shell and an Aegis. And now trying to get out. But there's a tear. He still had beads, though, and he's still alive. No one has fallen yet despite an eruption of abilities and aggression. Chiron taking on 3 up into the sky. Might land on a cookie. Does. Takes him out. But YeetOnDaNaeNae takes out Voltcha, but Huntor takes out Tyr, and YeetOnDaNaeNae is one shot. That's going to go to Huntor for a double kill. OLKxHARDKILLER going to be in the flames and is going to be burned down by the Rizzler, but Rizzler is going to fall to Huntor for a triple kill here at 32 minutes. All they got to do now is walk up against a redneck Yoda on Jing 10. Do you think they go? GettinCawky survived somehow against all odds, reset, and is now walking back up mid lane. You think this is an end call?
I think they go for it. I think they try for it. This is a 3v1 situation. Redneck Yoda just got his ultimate back up and has already used it. Bomb used on the middle of Fenix. Redneck Yoda has to try to defend this Titan at the Titan room. Too bad his ultimate is already down, but he may not be alive to be able to see that light of day. Here we go.
He's going to have to reset, and he's got to get past a Wukong. 8 seconds till anybody else is up. It's too little too late. Stormcallers with one more kill to do due diligence. With Chiron, their captain, leading them, came in and got a victory, keeping the trend going. We'll see if they can keep that going in week 3.
Stormcallers cleaning up what they did in game number 1, except this time there was no fight back from Eclipse. They had full control over that game, and with that full control, were able to take the set 2-1. Suun joined by Jeering. Jeering, what an amazing game number 3 coming out from Stormcallers.
Beautiful conversions. Really just taking control of what they'd started in game number 1, bringing it home in game number 3. Went from a nice lead to a beautiful conversion to an even better end game. Really just a textbook conversion of what you want to do. Just taking control, pressuring where you need to, and making things happen. Just playing as a team. And once again, shout out to HARDKILLER, really just putting in the work. We saw Terra be absolutely pivotal in this game, as well as game number 1, and it's nothing that's going to end anytime soon.
Yeah, Terra might be something that other teams need to be looking to ban away from Stormcallers, because Terra looked phenomenal in all 3 games for HARDKILLER and really putting on the hard carry in some of those team fights for sure on that pick. And Huntor coming up huge in that 3rd game as well. I mean, 7-1 and 14 for the mid laner. A great look on the Morgan Le Fay pick for sure. And again, it just seems like everything that they did wrong in game number 1, which didn't feel like a ton, they really managed to sit down and clean up and recognize exactly what they did and just pulled that out of the playbook and said, yeah, we're not going to mess this up again. We know exactly what we need to do. And they executed it flawlessly, getting the win over Eclipse. But Eclipse looked great as well. They had some really great fight back, managing to keep the game incredibly even for all of game 2, and then coming out with a win on that as well. If I'm Eclipse, I still feel pretty good about this set.
I would feel pretty good too, because that was some really good plays coming out. Took it to a game number 3 against a very, very solid team who really just converted all of their mistakes and fixed everything that they could. Really, it's just phenomenal play from both sides, but in this case, Stormcallers really just making a little bit more of those adjustments, fine-tuning what they did in game number 1, and turning it into something even better in game number 3.
Absolutely. Big congratulations to everyone on Stormcallers for a great win over Eclipse. And Eclipse, I'm excited to see you guys continue on because you guys look like quite a formidable team, and it's something great to look forward to. Guys, thank you so much for watching SDL. Make sure to follow on the Twitch, on the YouTubes, on the Twitter, all of it. Make sure to keep up with all of the league play coming forward, and we'll see you next time.